All right, Israel, happy Sabbath.
Happy Sabbath to you too.
Okay, so all praises to the Heavenly Father, the Most High, and His begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, whom the world calls Jesus Christ,
Please enter your six-digit conference code.
for giving us the spirit to come here,
Welcome
fellowship,
to free conference calling. The conference has not started.
keep
If
His
you are the
commandments,
host, we will now
and
connect
learn
you to your call. You are the first attendee.
what His will is. So all praises. So we're gonna jump right in and go into Purim. Not Purim, but Nicanor. All right. So we ended our class with Ezekiel, the 35th chapter, talking about Mount Seir and what they did and who was Edom. So when we read in Ezekiel chapter 35 about Mount Seir, that's Edom. All right. They changed their names to try and disguise themselves. They want to get away from being the bloody barbarians that they are, the people whom the Most High is trying to tell us have a never-ending hatred, and that's why you get treated the way that you get treated is because of them, right? So let's go to First Maccabees, the first chapter. And we're going to learn about how the things escalate during the time of the Greeks. Who is Nicanor? Where did he come from? And why do we end up having to celebrate this day that's been commemorated for over 1,000 years now? Okay. So, First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 1.
This is First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, whom came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece.
So there was war between the Grecians and the Persians and the Medes. The Grecians are what you would call the Europeans. The Persians, piece of Persian Media, or Elamites, people from Elam. Those are the ones that you can identify them today with. They're brown-skinned people with straight black hair, and they have the little dots on their head. They wear that as a symbolic, maybe, to their religion, Hinduism. Okay, but that's one of their identifying traits. Okay, so Alexander, he was the Greek, and he smote Darius, who was the king of those Persians and those Medes in control. So now we had First Maccabees chapter 1 and the second verse. So now remember, this is Alexander. Many of you grew up, and you probably still do, eating that candy. And I always remind you of this every year because there's going to be somebody that didn't get last year's lesson. Alexander the Grape. That's what they're talking about. So this is not a fictional character. They made heroes out of their people that did astonishing acts. They were prominent figures in their life. It's your history that's been redacted, that's been blotted out, that's been kept secrets. But that's why you have to return back unto the Father, return back unto the Most High, return back unto your heritage, which is the laws. You don't just get the laws to keep, you get an education, you get direction, you get history, you get a heritage, you get your customs, you get your tradition, you get culture, you get all of that. What is culture? Culture is a way of living. You get your mind and you get a lifestyle that's reshaped, refashioned into a direction that, according to the Father, the Most High, that's holy. That's a culture right there. That's a culture right there. You get all of that, not just the laws. And we shouldn't hate the laws, no way. All right. So we got to return back into that, even because the world ain't going to give it to you. The world did away with it. Let's see. We're going to go over that. Yeah. We might skip it. Let's see. Yeah, we'll end up skipping it. Let's grab it very quickly since I said it. And then they created a new world, and that's the Christian world. So the Christian world is based upon doing away with your heritage. Jump over to verse 41.
This is First Maccabees 1 and 41.
So remember, Alexander, the Grecian, the Greek, now he's in power, him and his reign and his democracy. And through his reign, this is what he incorporated. Verse 41.
First Maccabees 1 and 41. Moreover, King Antiochus.
So now Antiochus is a descendant from Alexander. So these people, they keep descending. So him being a descendant from him, listen to what he did. Remember, the Persians are out of there. Go ahead.
Wrote to his whole kingdom.
Wrote to his king. His kingdom will be everybody that is up under his thumb, up under his finger, up under his hand, that's been stamped by him. Remember, the Bible calls it the mark of the beast. You've been marked by this guy. So we did that. We did a class about the mark of the beast. Is there anybody in here that have not seen that class? Those of you that have not seen it, no matter how long you've been in the truth, you need to see that class. You need to see that class because there are many forms of the mark of the beast. And we all have marched up under the mark of the beast. The thing is, you don't want the finishing touch of it and you want to come up out of this beast. Go ahead.
That all should be one people.
That all should be one people. Be what I tell you to be is what this guy is saying. Go ahead.
And everyone should leave his laws.
You see, everybody leave your laws. So what do you get when you come back? Yeah, you get the laws, but we're trying to teach you that you're going to get more than just the laws of the Most High. You're going to get your heritage. You're going to get the way that things supposed to be. You're going to get your traditions. You're going to get your culture, the reshaping of your mind, how things supposed to be, not based upon Antiochus, who got it from Alexander, who got it from his lineage, which were the Edomites, all the way back into Mount Seir. When Ezekiel was prophesying out in the wind to Israel concerning Mount Seir, Alexander wasn't there. He wasn't even born. They would descend from the Mount Seir, but they were so terrible and they were so bloody and they were so bad that the Most High had to say, you know what? I'm going to deal with all the Edomites. But he still have got to deal with us because he gave us certain things, a lifestyle, and we let the deceiver deceive us and correct us. We let the deceiver trick us. We stopped listening unto the Father, the Most High, and his servants, the prophets that he would prophesy and send out to tell us. We stopped listening unto them and start listening unto everybody but them, the prophets, and him, which is the Most High. So now we start reaping what you sowed. That's right. Our forefathers, they start reaping what they sowed. In our life, it'll be the same thing. That's why the Most High zealously through right now, the modern day people that he set up into your life, they be really trying to tell you this is the way to go. This is what you're supposed to do. so that you don't sow a bunch of wickedness and what? Reap a bunch of wickedness. Like, well, how did I get this wicked result? How not? What sowest thou? If you sow to the flesh, of the flesh shall you reap corruption. See, so we're asking you to return back into the law so then we can teach you your culture. So we'll be telling you how to live, what to eat, using the scriptures, how to dress, how to finesse yourself, how to style yourself, how to groom yourself, what jobs to take. You can't be a drug dealer. You can't be, oh, I'm going to school, so I go to school at daytime and strip at night, this, that, and you can't do unlawful things. You got to provide honest. So we'll be instructing you, this is, thus says the Most High. So there's a culture that you have to follow, because all of these things under the regime of captivity from oppressors, all of those things were stolen from you. They were taken away from you. I know you want to, some people, you don't like laws. You don't like restrictions. Well, the Bible says everyone that hated reproof shall die. So that solves that. You don't have a fight with me. But those of you that struggle with the laws because you don't understand them and you're going to give it up, okay, fine. So you're going to learn to give up the things that the scriptures say. You're going to learn to apply the laws. You get more to it than just laws. You get the traditions. Traditionally, meaning this is what we do. This is what is to be done. That's what not to be done. You understand? You get culture. I've explained to you what culture is. This is how things, it's similar to tradition too. This is your culture. This is what we do. Okay. So all of those things are added to you because so many things are going to be taken away from you when you come out of the world. You can't do this. You cannot do that. You cannot go here. You cannot go there. You cannot be with these people. Everything is going to be, it's supposed to be stripped away from you. You have to be clean to the point to where there's nothing else left. And you broke. And then the Most High is going to repair you. He's going to put you back together with his spirit. And this time you're going to be unbreakable. You're going to be stronger than ever. And then you're going to understand why he told you not to go here, not to be with this person, not to have this tradition, not to be without laws, not to do this and not to do that. You will be perfect and complete, wanting nothing. Wanting meaning lacking nothing. When you go into a situation, you'll have full understanding on how to live. But these people, they took all of that away from you. So coming back into the truth, you get that stuff restored back unto you. But it takes a lot of work. So everyone should leave his laws. So there's 142. So that all the heathen, go ahead.
So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
The heathen are all these other nations. They agreed because remember, through Alexander, when we go back, you're gonna realize that he conquered everybody that was considered in the world at that time that was around him. Next, what was up on the chopping block was Israel. But Israel didn't know because Israel was too busy enjoying themselves in sin. That's how it is. You don't know that judgment and wrath and all of those things are coming. You don't know that that's coming. You're going to be kicking it. You're going to be doing your thing, enjoying yourself. And the Most High say, in your security, he's going to come and destroy you. In the safety of your own, blah, 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 wherever you at, that's when the Most High will come and allow something to happen. So that's how Israel was. I want you to think about that so that we can avoid that happening. You have times of peace, and then all of a sudden we get judged. And we're like, wow, where did this evil come from, man? I don't need this in my life. And it overtakes you. It throws you off. You don't need that. In order for that not to happen, you got to be righteous, righteous, righteous every day of the week, every week of the month, every month of the year. And in order for that to happen, you got to fight. And in order to have a strong fight, you're going to have a strong team. And to have a strong team, you got to know which team that you want. Either you on Team Satan or you on the Most High side. Like in the wilderness, Moses separated the people. He told them, choose what side you're going to choose you this day. Joshua said, choose you this day. But Moses had separated people, say, those you that's going to be on that side, you go on that side. Those you that's going to be with the Most High, the Lord, you're going to be on this side right here. You come over here. So you're going to have a strong team because everybody that's on your team, they're going to be fighting to help you survive while you fight every day, every week, every month, every year. It's time off is just having good days and good weeks. You are losing like that. And Satan, who's been here longer than everybody alive, that's the only spirit that ain't died. Satan. He's been here longer than anybody. He gonna outlast you, especially if you giving place to one of his little ghouls, one of his little evil spirits. He gonna outlast you. So you don't want that to happen. The way that you win a fight with Satan is don't get into a fight with Satan. Go the opposite direction. The Bible says, flee from Satan. Flee from Satan. Run. That day, be a punk. That day, be soft. That day, be a chump. That day, be weak and soft. Be whatever it takes. But I'm not finna fight. I'm finna just leave this situation and go the opposite direction. I bet you get stronger and stronger. You're going to get smarter and smarter because you're going to be able to see the situation and you're going to be able to avoid it. You're going to be like, nah. And every time you see that situation, you're going to be like, no. That's a smart person. You ain't going to get entangled, unlured and seduced, agitated and provoked, seduced and lured down into that trap to where you can't get out of it. Every time, you got to learn how to run. That's a true statement. So in this truth, you're going to learn more than laws. The Most High is going to give you so much more. It do come with instructions, though. This is all the stuff that was taken away from us. We're going to return back into it. So we had First Maccabees 1:42, 1:43.
Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion.
So there was a religion in the world to where you didn't have to keep the laws. Then there's a religion in the world that you don't have to keep the laws now. There are many religions in the world now where you don't have to keep laws. We can name them all. Not all of them, but you can name a bunch of them. The number one of them is an atheist. Oh, I don't believe in anything. That means I can just do whatever I want to do. Bump anything. I'm God. Okay. Number 2 and 3, which fight for the pride of being top dog, is Christianity and Islam. Followed with Hinduism and Buddhism, which all of that is under capitalism. And they seem to be in denial about it, but it doesn't even matter because it's all a world religion that's lawless according to the Bible and has nothing to do with the Israelites. The Israelites come with instructions, and it's from Genesis to Revelations. And those things were taken away from you. You have to accept that if you're going to deal with God. If you don't accept that, you're not dealing with the Most High. You're dealing with Alexander and Antiochus and the Roman Empire, Mount Seir, and every other title, byword, and proverb that they seem to go after as they deceive people to be on their side and to be on their team, to follow them. You understand? Go ahead.
And sacrifice unto idols.
Deal with idolatry. Give everything that you got to something that's imaginary. And sometimes they have learned to bring their imaginations to pass, meaning make them human people, make them images that's wrote on canvas through paint, wood, carve them out of stone, depending on their money. All right. Do all manner of things. Go ahead.
And profane the Sabbath.
And also did away with the Sabbath day. So instead of resting, what did they do? They did whatever it is they wanted to do on the Sabbath. And guess what happened? When you start doing things upon the Sabbath day, you get bad luck. Wrath from the Most High will come upon you for doing things that you're not supposed to do on the Sabbath day. Don't argue about, well, what day is the Sabbath day then? That's going to be contention right there. So let's go back to where we were. We was at First Maccabees, chapter 1.
Verse 3.
Now, yes, verse 2.
First Maccabees 1 and 2. And made many wars and won many strongholds.
So he made a lot of war. And when they resisted, he won the strongholds. People were resisting, trying to keep him from, invading their countries. The guy won. Go ahead.
And slew the kings of the earth.
And he killed them because he's very violent. He's very violent. Bloody, bloodshed. That's the prophecy of his grandfather, the first Edomite, that he would have to rule everything and get it by the sword. That's how you know who this is. Let's go and get that. Genesis.
Uh, 27. 38.
Yes. The book of Genesis, chapter 27 and 24. 23.
This is Genesis chapter 27 and verse 23. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy as his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him.
Oh, that's wrong one.
38.
Yes.
Genesis 27
And 37.
37. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above.
So you got to remember who is this speaking? This is Isaac. So who is his dad? Yeah, that's right. That's his dad. But his dad ain't just anybody. His dad is a friend of the Most High. And so, with his dad being a friend of the Most High given to Abraham and given to his son Isaac. Remember, the Most High had to tell. The Most High gave Isaac to Abraham. So the Most High already knew. Remember, he got rid of Ishmael. He said, go ahead and fear not to take unto thee, not to listen to your wife Sarah. I'm gonna return according to the process of life, and Sarah indeed shall have a son, shall have a child, or whatever, however he put it. So all that was, so then you think that the Most High is not going to communicate with Isaac? Yeah, because Isaac was predestinated by the Most High to be in this earth. So the Most High didn't just forsake him and leave him and walk off and not deal with him. So Isaac indeed speaking through the Spirit, and he knows what he's talking about. So where we at?
Genesis 27 and now verse 40.
Hold on. Let me see. So Isaac answered in 39 and said unto him, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. Everything, he didn't say this land, and he didn't just point out certain territories. He said the fatness of the earth. So everything that's fat on the earth, I want that. I'm getting that. The fatness of the earth. That's why the man he's the true nigger. Do you know what niggard mean? Niggard mean greedy. So that could say that dwelling shall be the niggard of the earth. Look. Hey, look it up. You're gonna learn today. Niggardly. It says not generous. The man is not generous. The man gave you $600 and said it should last for 3 or 4 months. Stingy. The man is stingy. How dare he call poor people a nigger? This man is preposterous. This is insane. This man is crazy, delusional. And we take it. What's up, my nigga? You ain't even got anything to be a nigga. You broke as hell. You can't even be a nigga. You ain't got nothing to be stingy with. What's up, my nigga? That's my nigga there. You ain't got nothing to be stingy with. It means to be stingy. It's a byword. Oh my God. And we get tricked into all of this every time. And we eat it and soak it up. So Isaac was saying everything that's in this earth, but it's more to it. So 27 and that was 39. Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. The dew falls everywhere. That's why everywhere you go, you see him. People could be doing anything. He's behind the camera, taking pictures, filming to be the nice guy. Sabbath day, I'm resting, I'm eating or whatever. Couldn't find nothing. I'm like, okay, National Geographic it is. National Geographic it is. We're watching the creatures from underground. All of a sudden, my spirit gets vexed. Why? Because this demon is underwater, man. Filming what's under there. Why are you underwater, man? Why are you at the bottom of the ocean taking pictures of these creatures? You're everywhere. Who gives you the authority to go up under there? But the Most High tolerating it. The guy's everywhere. The fatness of the earth, the dew of heaven, everywhere. Verse 40.
And by thy sword shalt thou live.
This is the first guy. There was not an Edomite before this man right here. That was bad behavior. but not like this before this man. The behavior were people of color. Everybody before her was melanated. The only person that was cursed to be some type of way was Cain. Okay? Other than that, there was nobody else that didn't have melon. There was nobody else. There was not a one. Don't let people confuse you, man. This is the first right here. I'm just wondering how somebody let his little punk ASS dominate like this. But they can't stop it because the Most High is involved and he has let Satan rule him completely. That's what he don't have a conscience. He has the mind of Satan. All right. So by thy sword thou shalt live.
And shall serve thy brother.
So that's it. But he lives by the sword. So everything that he will get will be by the sword. This is what Isaac is telling him. The condition, you want to be blessed, you got to live by the sword. So just imagine a man talking to his father, and the father tell him, yeah, you're going to have this and you're going to have that. You're going to live by your gun. So how you think that child going to take that? I'm going to take this gun and I'm going to get it that way. So he's going to go on a killing spree. Everything that he wants, he's just going to take it. He's going to shoot and leave people dead, and he's going to take it. That's what you see on TV. That's this guy here. That's their descendants. They cushion and soften you up with Starbucks commercials. People, in Hawaii and California and Florida vacationing, they soften you up. But the powers that be, this is them now, by the sword. So let's go back.
This is First Maccabees chapter 1 and 2. And made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him.
Yeah, the earth was quiet. There was nobody to rebuttal. He would kill them. Nobody could respond. Remember Jeremiah's Lamentations? When they got to us, during the time, the Babylonians, when they got to us during the time of Jeremiah, what did they do? The princes they hanged, they gutted the fathers, they ravished the women. There was nobody to fight up against them. So the earth was quiet before him. Go ahead.
Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations.
So jump over to verse 16.
First Maccabees 1 and 16.
So let's see. Yeah, he gathered a mighty strong host. He made his military big. Army, Navy, that's the ones out on the sea, right? Now it's Air Force, because they can fly through the sky. Before they couldn't fly, you got all these different attributes. Army, Navy, Air Force, the Marines. Did I miss any?
Coast Guard.
Yeah, Coast Guard.
Homeland Security.
Yeah, Homeland Security.
FBI, CIA.
Yeah, all the tactical ones. Go ahead. And verse 4, and
ruled over countries.
So he used that big host to rule those countries. That's why I need all of those people, all of those military branches. to rule the countries, to make the countries listen to him and do what he say. And remember, what they do is they take all the resources. When you go jump up to verse 3, the second part, read that.
And took spoils of many nations.
Stop. And take spoils. So when you got the spoils, the people are going to follow. Now, people come where the spoils is. I'm just showing it to you, man. You rule over those countries with the host. You got the spoils. People want to eat. They just want to get in line. They get in line for this. They get in line for that. Then they do their first share of work around here and first share of work around there. Then they start building certain things for rations, for food, for this, for that. Now you have a thriving community and a thriving environment. Oh, this is way before the ages that you living in now. It's going without a breeze now. You hardly ever see the abundance of these strongholds. You see, what's another word for the police? Or you see the police now, and they try and psych you into thinking that the police are public servants. So every time, every time that there's somebody that's smart amongst the people, they say you're supposed to be a public servant. I pay, you work for me. I pay your this and I pay your that. But the real rank, the real strong horse or the real force, they would draw back until it's straight needed. And when it's needed, they come with orders. They don't even talk to the people. They just come with orders to pull the trigger or not to pull the trigger. That's why their weaponry is different. It's full auto, rapid fire. It's everything. It's a whole lot different. They're different. They're different beasts. So they gathered back down to verse 4. So they gathered the hosts. They ruled over countries, nations, and even kings. The people that had control over their land, they lost control. Who became permanent givers unto him? That's what a tributary is. Somebody that was a permanent giver. Everybody clear? All right. Was Israelites born or dead at this time? Yeah, they were born, much alive and kicking it. The thing is, because remember, we trying to get into Nicanor, and you got to understand that while all this was going on, Israel had to be somewhere not fearing the Most High. Just like we might be somewhere not fearing the Most High. While terrible things in the world is happening, you're like, oh, that ain't going to affect me. Yes, it is. The Most High, he going to bring it to you. He going to bring it on around, and he going to make it happen unto you. You just don't know it. He's seeing and remembering everything bad that you're doing. We have to stop gauging how bad our sin is. Oh, my sin is not that bad. My sin is not badder than them. Sin is sin. Your sin is enough because it is a sin to cause the Most High to come and visit you. All right. So now jump over to verse 16.
Verse 16. Now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have dominion of 2 realms. Wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots and elephants and horsemen and a great navy, and made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death. Thus they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt, and he took spoils thereof. And after that Antiochus had smitten Egypt, he returned again in the 143rd year, and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude.
Because remember, Egypt and Israel, they shouldn't be far from each other. That's where the Messiah and his parents took him to Egypt. So now in the 143rd year, they go up against Israel. Who sent them? It was the Most High that sent them. Why? Because Israel was in sin. Okay, go ahead.
And entered proudly into the sanctuary, and took away the golden altar, and the candlestick of light, and all the vessels thereof, and the table of shewbread, and the pouring vessels, and the veils.
Hold up for a second. Go to Joshua, the 7th chapter. Okay, so I'll read it and give it to you. So Joshua 7:1, the children of Israel committed a trespass in the accursed thing, something that ought not to be done. They took of the accursed thing, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. So Israel had a winning
Joshua
record.
7.
Joshua, what did I say?
2.
Joshua 7:1. I'm sorry.
Yes, 7.
I might have said 2. Joshua 7:1. I'll start over. Joshua 7:1. So I came here to show you what made Antiochus go into Israel. Joshua 7:1, the children of Israel committed a trespass in the accursed thing. Bottom of 7:1, the anger of the Lord was kindled against the children of Israel because they trespassed. Up until then, Israel was fine. They were out of Egypt. They were fighting different nations. We went over this on Thursday. They never lost a war. So this is being the top nation in the world on the face of the earth. Everybody knew that you were the tip of the spear. Yeah, you were. Yes, we were. The Bible says that we were holiness unto the Lord. Anybody that touch us would offend the Most High. It was like that. It would be on. But somebody took a chance. The Lord doesn't want any of us to take a chance. If there's anybody here that's taking a chance, the wrath of the Lord is going to be kindled against us. Verse 2, let's see. Get to the point. Verse 6, jump there.
This is Joshua 1 and Joshua chapter 7 and 6.
Start 5.
Verse 5. And the men of Ai smote them about 36 men, for they chased them from before the gate, even unto Shebarim, and smote them in the going down, wherefore the hearts of the people melted and became as water.
Right. Yeah, we were afraid. We got people died, smote us. We hadn't experienced that by dealing with the Most High. Our confidence was so high. Verse 6.
And Joshua rent his clothes and fell to the earth upon his face before the ark of the Lord until the evening tide. he and the elders of Israel, and put dust upon their heads.
So they were shook. Like, what is going on? These people cannot be this bad and better than us. What's going on? They were done. It was like, what's going on? Whining and crying and ripping their clothes. Go ahead.
And Joshua said, Alas, O Lord God, wherefore hast thou at all brought this people over Jordan to deliver us into the hand of the Amorites, to destroy us? Would to God we had been content and dwelt on the other side of Jordan.
Jump down to verse 10.
Verse 10. And the Lord said unto Joshua, Get thee up.
Get up. Go ahead.
Wherefore liest thou upon thy face?
Go ahead.
Israel had sinned.
Israel have sinned. So it went wrong. Remember, all it took was for one. The Lord said, Israel sinned. Israel sinned. So when we go back into our story, Israel didn't even know what was going to come upon them. They had so much hardship for what they was doing, all because of their sins. Israel, we don't understand that the stuff that we go through is because of sin. Second Ezra 7:32. Second Maccabees 7:32. Second Maccabees 7:32.
Second Maccabees chapter 7 and verse 32. For we suffer because of our sins.
For we suffer because of our sins. So Israelites, our people. Now let's go back to First Maccabees 1 and verse 20. After that Antiochus had spit in Egypt, he returned again in the 143rd year. So now this is counting down. So 140 something years before the Messiah, birth of the Messiah, he came and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude. So this would then show you, how did the Romans get into Jerusalem? How did they get into Israel? How did the people go under Greek customs? How was there a confusion with us, with Greek-speaking Israelites? How's there a confusion about us working for the Greeks, with it being centurions? This is how. All right, go ahead.
First Maccabees 1 and 21. And entered proudly into the sanctuary.
Right. How did he get there? Why is he there? I just showed us in Joshua, because of sin. If we wasn't in sin, there was no way the Most High would have had them to show up. Go ahead.
And took away the golden altar.
The altar was made of pure gold. So when you in sin, you're gonna lose your gold. When you in sin, you're gonna lose your money. You're gonna lose your whatever little bit of something of value that you got. You are going to lose that because you are in sin. Some of you can't hold on to anything. You got what they call it, dust bunnies. You have nothing but lint in your pockets. You don't have anything. You are suffering because you are doing the wrong thing. Some of you cannot get ahead because you are doing the wrong thing. And you refuse to hearken. You think that you be right. You call good evil, and the things that you're doing which are evil, you call that right. You call that good. So your gold and stuff, it get took away. The Most High be chastening you like he chastening his people because they were in the midst of sin. Did they see it coming? No, they didn't see it coming. Just like we don't see it coming. You're supposed to fear the Most High. You're supposed to be afraid that if I do this, that's going to happen. I'm horrified. I'm terrified. I don't want anything bad to happen. The most I said it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. It ain't no if. I don't want anything to happen to me. So I'm trying to avoid anything that can go wrong by all costs. You can take that chance on you. I wouldn't advise you to do that. Many people do, they all fail. How you gonna bet against something that ain't never lost and it cannot lose? It is it. Him, the creator, the highest of all. That's not very smart right there to bet against something that you can't, you can't win. So go ahead and the
And the
candlestick,
candlestick of light, and all the vessels thereof.
everything that was in there, they took. How would you like to lose all of your stuff, man? That would be terrible to lose all of your stuff. How many people in here without a show of hands? Hey, Shalom. How many people in here without a show of hands have started over from zero? No, without a show of hands. Started up. I mean, when I say start over from zero, I mean, dang, man. I'm so broke, I just got the shoes on my feet. Well, you know how bad that is. And sometimes you might even be in the hole. And when you start trying to pay people back, you still ain't ahead. That's tough right there, man. Let me tell you what put you in that position: sin. That's a bad thing to do right there, sin. So to enjoy the pleasure of sin for a season, it's not worth it. No, it's not worth it. I would rather suffer with the Lord than live in sin for a season. What's that Psalms about joy coming in the morning? So you might suffer with the Lord for a minute, but it don't stay. Psalms 30. Psalms 30 and 5.
The book of Psalms, chapter 30. And verse 5. Psalms 30 and 5. For his anger endured but a moment. In his favor is life.
Right. His anger endured for a moment. If you happen to anger the Most High because of what you did, you can get his favor. You got to repent. In his favor is life. You want to get in his favor. Go ahead.
Weeping may endure for a night.
Right. You take the correction, humble yourself, you're going to weep. Certain things you don't like, stuff you got to do. Okay, that's fine. Go ahead.
But joy cometh in the morning.
That's right. But joy going to come in the morning, man. Meaning it's going to be over. But that doesn't happen if the Lord have to take everything away. You get people they be sad forever. Be sad for a long time. They be sad for a long time, man. If they were just to give the God honest truth, they can't tell you when the last time they've been happy or they've been satisfied or they good. They're just getting along. So it's the difference between the fruit of the Spirit, was what I'm talking about, and then you're just disappointed with life. You disappointed with life because you in sin. Ain't no joy coming in the morning. Tomorrow's gonna be another hard day, another bad time for you. You in a hole, you live in a hole. It could be so discouraging it just makes you give up. You can't die, you just living, but it'll make you think that's not for you. I don't think that way. And it ain't because I feel privileged. It's because I'm going to make a choice. Remember the fear? I confess those things because I'm hoping that somebody else in here will be like, okay, It's not, there's nothing wrong with being afraid to break the laws of the Most High, to be terrified. I want you to feel like, I want my confession to rub off on somebody else to where you say, okay, if he said it and he's teaching us, well, I'm supposed to follow suit and be like, I don't want the consequences from being a daredevil. Daredevil, I'm gonna take a chance because if I do this, that bad thing can happen. So if I'm telling you, I'm afraid to take a chance with any shape, form, or fashion of knowledgeable sin. Notice I said knowledgeable sin because we're living, learning, and growing. And sometimes you might do something and not realize it until somebody say, yo, you know, you ain't supposed to be doing that. That's wrong. That's when you're supposed to take that correction. You're supposed to say, okay, then boom. But something that you know, you're gonna get thrashed. So there's a lot of us, especially those that learning and you've been here, you know right from wrong. You're not supposed to intentionally and willful sin. Just go for it and do it because of emotions, the way you feel, anger, stress, loneliness, whatever it is, hunger, famine, persecution. Nothing's supposed to separate you from the love of Christ. Nothing's supposed to separate you from these commandments. What Christ taught you, how to love the Father, the Most High. You ain't supposed to let anything come between you and your spiritual duty to be spiritual and serve the Most High. You're supposed to know that if you do, the worst can come upon you. Because that's how I think. If I do, the worst can come upon me. I can't do that. That's a chance that I can't take. So I confess that to you so that you can walk around thinking and feeling the same thing. Man, if I do that, it can come upon me. So I don't understand. I I'm not the person to talk to about, yeah, I just did it and that. Not if I understand that you know better. I'm not a gambler. I don't put money on the crap table. I don't take a chance. I don't do a thoughtless thing. Everything is a calculated decision. I think before I speak. I speak after I've thought. I move after I've decided. I've decided and made war through the counsel of the scriptures. The scriptures decided the fate of my decision. Whether I liked it or not, I did what the scriptures say. Because anything else is going to judge me. It's going to bring forth something that's going to be a lot worse than how I feel. So I would prefer to just let the scriptures be true and let it do what it needs to do within me, which is to lead and guide me in the true way. And not me try to numb it out and ignore it, thinking that, okay, surely God ain't going to judge me because of what I did, because of what I said, because of what I smoked, because of I laid down with this person, or because of what I did. He going to judge you for everything you do, and you're not living and coming back. And those judgments are irreversible. It's nothing that you can do. You got to believe that. If you accept that, then you won't even be taking a chance or having an issue with it. You will just be like, I'm a chance. I don't get down like that. It won't even be a conversation whether you get down like that or not. That ain't something to where people would approach you with a situation like that. You just moving on to the next thing, which is what do I do today? It's a day by day process. So, and then when you have to go through what you have to go through, the joy Right, now let's get the book of Galatians. Joy come. Joy don't come to the sin, to the sin. Excuse me. Galatians 5 and 22.
The book of Galatians, chapter 5 and 22. But the fruit of the Spirit,
But the fruit that the Most High gives to somebody to enjoy, the joy that comes in the morning, go ahead,
is love.
is love. You won't feel that love from the Most High. Hold up. I want this to resonate with us. I want us to pay attention, stop fidgeting, snacking, and all that. We'll be the same ones looking for this right here, looking for that joy in our life somewhere. And I'd be like, was you in class? Because I felt it. I'm like, I felt it. It was being explained in class. The very same thing that you're looking for. So the fruit of the Spirit is God. What God gives to you, the joy that comes in the morning, even though you made him mad, even though you did this, and the third, you're gonna take his correction. He got to redirect you. I understand that we are people that don't like correction. But when you take it and you accept it, you say, okay, I'm finna do better. Joy does come in the morning. All of that last football moment, the fruit, what comes from him is his approval. Because he'll open doors that it seemed to be closed or you was unsure. Sometimes you can be approaching a door and uncertain, is it going to happen? And then it happens. So I'm going to present the locked door in front of you all the time. A lot of us, I don't know if this is going to work out. And then next thing you know, it works out. That's favor. What did the other one say? Psalms 30 and 5, it says, in his favor is life. So he'll give you favor. He'll show you favor. We got to understand what that is when you have success with certain things. That's favor. The Most High showed me favor. Are you going to give him credit? Or you ain't going to give nothing credit? Are you going to take the credit yourself? Or perhaps peradventure, it just was like that. Is not here God very near? You are a spiritual person. You do have a spiritual faith. You do believe, you're spiritual based. You're a believer. So if you're a believer, I mean, let's give him credit. Let's not just think and feel that he's absent and it's just that be us bitterly grudging because we have desires and lusts that we cannot consume. And when we can't get what we want, God ain't nowhere. He don't give me nothing. I'd like for you to show me this one here. Who feels that God don't give you anything? Be honest. I want to see this one here. Be honest. Who feels, and some of you about to lie. Yeah, y'all finna lie. But don't lie. Who feels that he don't give you nothing? Raise your hand. Okay. I'm finna tell you how I know you lied because I felt like that before. So I know you lied. I know, and you're scared. You're scared. I felt like that before. I pray you didn't give me nothing. You ain't gave me nothing. But you know what? I did not lose my faith. I didn't. I did not stop believing. As an adult, as an elder, as an elder. It's times the Most High didn't give me anything. He gave me life, breath, water to drink, food on the table, the sun to shine like everybody else. I didn't get nothing more. Like everybody else. If it happened to me, it's happened to each and every last one of y'all, and y'all just lied. That's okay. Or we're ashamed. Let me straighten it out. Maybe you were just ashamed to confess your fault. I ain't gonna say you lied. You were ashamed to confess your fault, thinking that it would make you not seem spiritual. You have got to confess. You gotta confront, and you gotta learn. Insecurities and honesties and forthcoming. You gotta learn that it's okay to address those certain things because there are answers to all of that. There's answers. I don't have a problem now. I don't have that issue or that problem now. It's times I would, for the simple things, I pray for something to work and it just wouldn't work. It didn't work. That didn't change my faith. Like, you ain't God. And I know that might seem hard for a lot, for some people, but to me, it didn't. I just kept moving and kept doing what I needed to do. The Lord has ways past us understanding and finding out. Somebody had a question. Go ahead.
So when you asked us that, you was asking us, do we feel like it's things that we want that's like more stuff? Because I honestly feel like it's stuff that I got that I don't deserve. So when you ask the question, do you get anything? It's like, yeah, but I'm just speaking from my experience in my life. I got stuff that I feel like I don't deserve sometimes.
Well, I ain't talking about, and that's a totally different subject. But the thing that I asked, because we talked about the fruit of the spirit is love and joy. Joy coming in the morning. Psalms 30, it talked about his anger endured but a moment, his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night. Okay. So a day with the Lord is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day. So the Most High, he could take you through a slump if that's what he wants you to go through. But joy coming in the morning. So joy can come. And I've said that I've been through times to where I've asked for things and didn't get it, but that didn't stop the faith. That didn't stop my faith. And I've been through times, long periods of time. What happened was I stopped. And I didn't hinder the commandments. It didn't make me stop applying the scriptures. I applied even more. I just stayed the course. If I asked for help and it went opposite and it broke or this or that, I didn't curse the Lord. I didn't do anything. Obviously, that was the trying of my faith. Maybe the Most High get Deuteronomy chapter 8. Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 2.
Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 2. And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what was in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no.
So the Lord led us through the wilderness for 40 years to humble us. So the 40 years, that was a tough 40 years for Israel. That wasn't like living inside of the land in houses with a roof covered, with a furnace to keep warm in the wintertime, with an oven to cook on, with a soft, bed that they had made and things like that. It was totally different. He said he did that, humbling them, breaking them down, shattering them into broken pieces, and to prove them, melting them down, purifying them, every piece of dirt away. I told you, it made me stop asking. And I still kept the commandments. Everything that I knew. I didn't change. I didn't alter. I didn't go to the left. I didn't go to the right. I was still full-fledged. Every bit, every moment. To know what was in your heart, whether thou would keep the commandments or no. I kept the commandments. It didn't make me, because you didn't do this, I'm not going to keep the commandments now. I'm going to keep the commandments because the commandments is right. The Lord had his reason on why. Obviously, this is it. It just made me, this is what he told me. This was the answer. To see if you're going to keep the commandments or no. I kept them. So those of you that are out there, what are you going to do? So I'll ask after this, I'm going to ask again. And this time, I want to see who's going to be forthcoming. Go ahead. Verse 3.
Verse 3. And he humbled thee.
And he humbled me. See, he humbled thee. He humbled me. I stopped asking for everything. I ask for everything now. Just like I did back then, before I stopped asking. If I need something, Lord, I cast every care upon him, every care. But I went through a phase before to where everything, it was like there was no answer. They went unanswered. It's like, okay, why? But I still had to get up and still keep the faith. The Lord said, to prove thee. Because to the Lord, to me, the Lord seemed present or absent? Absent. The whole time the Lord is sitting right there, speculating. I'm going to see how is that going to make him do? Is he going to doubt? What is he going to do? Is he going to turn to Satan now? Is he going to listen to Satan? Because Satan is always present. Satan never leaves for a season, but Satan comes back. Is he going to sin? What is he going to do? He think I'm not there. At the time, I thought he wasn't. I'm like, the Lord ain't answered. The whole time. The Lord said, I'm proving him to see, is he going to keep the commandments or not? The whole time I kept the commandments. I didn't go astray to the left or to the right. Go ahead.
And suffer thee to hunger.
And suffer. Sometimes you might not have money. You'll be praying unto the Most High. The Most High won't respond. You don't have no money. The Most High don't respond. You might, what if you might want the Most High to respond by a righteous man? The Most High didn't respond by the righteous man because he controls the righteous man. He turned the heart of the righteous man. The heart of the righteous man doesn't respond. The Most High is there looking to see, what are you going to do? Are you going to keep the commandments or not? Because he left you with his counsel. He's proving you to see if you're worthy. Go ahead.
and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might know thee, that he might make thee know that man does not live by bread only.
Right. So just because the Lord has the appearance that he's not there does not mean that he's not there. God is always there. So now I'll ask again. They can't see y'all, only me. Who's felt like that now? Be honest. The question is, who's been praying to the Lord before and you felt like you just didn't get an answer? What did I say before? Okay, calm down. It's all the same. See, now, look at us. That's all right. That's why I it's okay. Long as we learn something from the lesson and you can understand what the scripture in Deuteronomy 8 is talking about. But so we'll get some. How was it said? One person, Obadiah.
You said who feel like the Lord will get him anything.
Who felt at one point in time that the Lord didn't? I'm sure I said, and I'm gonna tell you why. And it's probably recorded. I know it's recorded. Because go ahead, Uzziah.
You didn't put before her. You just asked this and we're going right now. And then the second time around, you made it pass to my son.
I've said so. Y'all gonna be right because it's a bunch of y'all. So so the way that y'all heard it and the way that I said it is, who feels like the Most High is not giving them anything, and like as far as in presently.
Yes.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, that's because. Do anybody feel like that now? Okay, you felt like that before. Okay, so that's what I meant in regard. Like, at any point in time, have you ever felt like that? Okay, all right.
That's why I asked.
Okay, okay. Because remember the way that I responded, like, okay, well, y'all, you got to confront your true feeling because I felt like that before. And I had to find out that, obviously that was just a time that the Most High would take people through to prove them, to see, are you going to keep the commandments? I've told you what I need you to do. Now I'm finna, we have to obey, not just in his presence, but even much more in his absence. The absence that we feel. So when we feel absent, the absence of the Lord, we still to obey the Lord. And when we go through certain things, the Most High, he'll return back unto us after he's proven us, and he'll show us his fruit that come from him: love, joy. So now I'm quoting Galatians 5:22. Love, joy, peace that you look for, long suffering. He'll give you the spirit and ability to be long suffering, to have long suffering. Why? Because remember, you have been through something to where you had to wait on him. You had to suffer for a long period of time. Right. Your long suffering has got to be a true long suffering, not just the long suffering that you tolerated, but the long suffering that the Lord has tolerated. And that suffering is according in his sight, which is totally different than ours. So everybody understand that? Because you might want something. How many of us, I'll give you an example. I talked about this last night. How many of you been riding with me and I've been complaining about a car? See, all of the brothers and some of y'all, I've been complaining about a car. And just to me, any old thing would have been doing. I got a couple of broken cars. I just even wanted to fix them. I just wanted to get out of my work truck, which I bought 15 years ago. And so, although I could have purchased something at any old time, 15 years, that's a long time. And so that long suffering, although I've year in and year out, sometimes I talk bad about, purchasing and stuff like that, because I'm be totally against it and things like that. But at the same time, I just took the suffering. And so when you have when you're gonna suffer, you gotta understand that the suffering is gonna be it's gonna be longer than just what you think and what you feel. Like you might tell yourself no and be like, okay, I'm long suffering. And then you tell yourself no, and then 2 weeks later you back at it. That's not long suffering. I've been suffering 15 years. So your long suffering, that's not no long suffering, man. If you trying to deny yourself and a month later, you still back at it. That's not long suffering right there. So you got to reevaluate what suffering is, and having that's a fruit of the spirit, to be able to have a tolerance, to tolerate something and live and work your way through it. All right. So the last part is gentleness and goodness, faith, meekness, and temperance. Those things the Most High give to us. So let's get back to our lesson. So we was at Maccabees 1.
22 now.
Yeah, and 22. So this guy came and he took all of these things from us out of the sanctuary: the golden altar, the candlestick of light, the menorah. That's the menorah. And he took all the vessels. He broke us down, man. He took everything, and that's we went over into those precepts. Israel was in sin. If we wasn't in sin, we wouldn't have suffered this fate. Verse 22.
And the table of the shewbread, and the pouring vessels, and the vials, and the censers of gold, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off. He took also the silver and the gold, and the precious vessels. Also he took the hidden treasures which he found. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre, and spoken very proudly. Therefore there was great mourning in Israel in every place where they were, so that the princes and the elders mourned, the virgins and young men were made feeble.
So this affected everybody. The princes, these are the young guys. The elders, these are the ones that ruled and taught, the ones with experience. They mourned. They couldn't do anything because that Roman Empire, that Roman government, that Grecian government, or that army was so deadly. It was just too strong. There was no fear put in them by the Most High. The women and young men, they were all made weak. That's what feeble is. And the beauty of women changed. So everything about sisters, y'all come out and rocking your head covers and your clothes this way and that way. You ain't had no place to go. Where you going? The town tore up. What you coming out looking snazzy for? You gonna walk down the street just to showcase? I said, where you going? This place is a mess. This place is jacked up, man. So the beauty changed. You had your regular stuff on. Look at them one like that. He's like, not our regular clothes. Yeah. They had the regular stuff on. Yeah. Stuff y'all walk around in the house in. Yeah, you had your regulars on. No beauty. No, no makeup. Wow. Every bridegroom took up lamentation. He was sad. And she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness. Why? Because it wasn't about her. She couldn't be spoiled. She had that honeymoon plan. Not when the country is in disarray. The American woman still want to go. Like, wait a minute. We're going to slide out anyway. Verse 28.
The land also was moved for the inhabitants thereof, and all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion. And after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute unto the cities of Judah, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude, and spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city, and smote it very sore.
So beware, man, beware of people that come to you very nicely in the name of the government, speaking peacefully. Those people mean nothing but trouble to you. They step to you very nicely. Even the women, even women. Knocking on your door. You go to the door, hey, how you doing? They speaking nicely. You're like, no, that's okay. No, thank you. Well, we're just trying to see if you have been vaccinated, or if you this, that, and the third, or if have you filled out the sensory, or have you did this, or have you do that? If you treat them with disrespect, they personally might not jump right on your door. You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna take note. This house is hostile. This house rejected. This is the house here. So they'll know what house to come back for. So just because they come now, remember, times has changed. They do it differently now. They still know how to come in peace. And then all of a sudden, they know how to come and smite you. So when there's people, if they happen to come to your house, think before you speak. Don't be so rude as you answer the door, because you might get a chance to shut that door now. But the next time, that ain't going to be the person coming knocking on the door. It's going to be somebody else coming to that door. And it's going to be because of that reported agent that came to that door. Say it again. Oh. So Matthew 5. Matthew 5 and 25.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5, and verse 25. Agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him.
So when they knock on the door, agree with them how? Agree with them quickly. So do everybody understand? How to agree with them? Listen and pay attention. Do you understand how to agree with them quickly without me having to say anything? Agree. Agree quickly with them. Don't offend them. Don't, oh, you stink. Oh, you all for this. Are you crazy? Are you a knucklehead? No. You want them reporting on you? Do you want them marking your house? Marking the inhabitants of your house? Agree with these people. How? Very quickly. Oh, so you're the investigating reporter, huh? Okay. Yes, very nice. Very nice. Oh. All right, yes. Thanks for coming by. I'm very compliant. I sure am. I sure have. Well, I've got something on the stove. Or the little ones are calling. But you take care. Thank you. Would you like something to drink before you leave? It's hot out there, a bottle of water or something. Well, no, thank you. Okay, well, you have a good day. I really got to leave. All right, thank you. Goodbye. See? Compliant. Now, I wish I said agree with your adversary. Of course, who agrees with the adversary? Nobody. But he said agree with your adversary quickly. Because it may make a difference. Read the next part. Least
at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge.
That's right. It won't stop there. It won't stop there. Remember, we're talking about, so back then, they came and they spoke peacefully. And then afterwards, they fell on the city. Now, they totally do things very differently. Things has changed a lot. They send stuff out by letter. We ignore it. Sometimes people, they come knocking at your door and things like that. We'd be totally offended and appalled. Like, get off my door with that. You believe in this. You believe in that. You do that. Let's have a different, an addition to our understanding. Instead of disrespecting them, and treat them differently. Send them on their way. Peacefully. To avoid being delivered into the judge. Go ahead. And the
judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. Verily I say,
you're trying to avoid being captured, imprisoned. This Yahweh Shah, who gonna go against that? Disagree with that? I'm not. So you come to my door, I'm gonna tell you what I know you need to hear. So you can go to avoid sending an officer to my door that's gonna deliver me to a judge that's gonna cast me in some type of cage. If you remember this, it'll go well with you. Sometimes live time is faster and it's a lot more difficult. And sometimes we forget. But try not to be a forgetful hero. Because it does go down like that. They will. You ain't never seen somebody come to your house and they leave writing, and you like, did you just write something down?
Mhm.
Anybody ever experienced that? Real talk. Anybody ever experienced that? They leave your house, and after leaving the house, they start writing. Yeah, they wrote you that you denied it. Yeah, huh? Right. Yeah. This person denied it. All right. So let's go back.
First Maccabees chapter 1
And
and verse 30. But all was deceit, for when they had given them credence, he fell suddenly upon the city and smote it very sore and destroyed much people of Israel. And when he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire and pulled down the houses and walls thereof on every side.
so you see what he did? He destroyed the city. He set it on fire. He pulled the houses down, the places that we had to live, and they did this. Go ahead.
But the women and children took they captive and possessed the cattle.
So what did they want? They want our women and they want our children. They want to lie with our women and they want to enslave and work our children. And they want to eat our food. Jump over to the 3rd chapter. And verse 27.
This is First Maccabees 3 and 27. Now when King Antiochus heard these things, he was full of indignation. Wherefore he sent and gathered together all the forces of his realm, even a very strong army. He opened also his treasure and gave his soldiers pay for a year, commanding them to be ready whensoever he should need them. Nevertheless, when he saw that the money of his treasures failed, and that the tributes in the country were small, because of the dissension and plague which he had brought upon the land, and taken away the laws which had been of old time.
Stop. So why didn't we have stuff in the land? Because of the taking away of the laws. What's the saying concerning the wealth of, what's the saying concerning the wealth of Israel? That we own less than 1% of the world's wealth. And we feel it's because the people won't give us anything. It's not because of that. It's because we live lawless. So when you read that last one, what is that? 29, and listen to it very closely.
Because of the dissension,
Nevertheless,
when he saw that the money of his treasures failed, and that the tributes in the country were small.
Right. So the tributes are things that he get from other countries. Let's say he's talking about our country. Go ahead.
Because of the dissension and plague.
Right. The dissension and plague, meaning the things that the Most High had took us through. All right. Go ahead.
Which he had brought upon the land, and taken away the laws which had been of old time.
Right. So when he took away the laws, the dissension means the disagreement, discord. When he brought in the confusion, what is the discord? The confusion, whether to keep the laws or whether not to keep the laws. When you bring that type of confusion in, everybody that's straddling the fence, everybody that's lukewarm are going to fall towards not applying the scriptures. Everybody, a sinful man seeking an excuse. So everybody that's looking to sin or seeking an excuse are going to lean towards. It was hard for righteousness to thrive because of the dissension that he brought in. So everybody following along. When he brought that in, when he brought sin in, so many of the Israelites fell because if that's what they wanted to do, they went after it. It was hard for them to hold fast. Are you somebody that's holding on because you holding on to somebody else that's strong? Put you in the midst of some other people that are just bona fide wicked. You know what you're going to be then? A bona fide demon. You're going to go towards the wicked side. And that's what happened with them. So when they brought forth that dissension and taking away the laws, the whole nation fell. It was right what the wicked of Israel wanted. The ones that had that wicked spirit inside of them. That's why you have to, when there's leaven in the body, you have to get that leaven out. You have to. You cannot leave that leaven in there. You have to have that structure, those guidelines in the congregation. It has to be there. Because if it don't, people will follow suit. Like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Okay, I'm gonna do that. They're gonna follow suit. So I'm gonna read that. What was we? I'm turning different pages.
29.
Okay, which he brought upon the land and taken away the laws which had been of old time. Yes. And because of that, there was no money. Discord, confusion, no laws. He had nothing to take. There was no blessing amongst the people. That's why we have less than 1% of the wealth that's on this earth. Less than 1%. So all the little million and self-toy made billionaires, you're nothing compared to all the rest of the world population and their wealth and their money. Nothing. That's why you have to continue to throw up Oprah, Jay-Z, Michael Jordan, the same prominent people. They got money. They got money. He got the money. It's the same ones. That's it. Oh, there are some other people that are millionaires. But in the world of money, a millionaire is the same as having $1,000 to a poor man. That's real talk. To have millions of dollars is the same as having a few $1,000s to the wealthy. Mm-hmm. It's just something astronomical to us because we don't have anything, and something of that amount to us, we would be able to do so much with it because we're able to live our lives maintaining with nothing. We're eating chicken every other day, driving the same routes that we go every day, wearing the same clothes every day, washing them. We're competitive. We're conservative by choice. But then you give a person $1 million. I'm sure there are people out there that probably don't do laundry. You wear clothes and that's it. And then it's taken to the local, it's thrown out in a bag to help take it. I'm telling you. So we're poor because they took away the laws. So if you want to be poor and you don't want no money, break the laws. You sure in the heck ain't gonna have no money. So go back to the first chapter and read verse 11.
First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us.
So with everything that's going on, listen to what's happening. You had Israelites saying, hey, we're going to go and we're going to deal with them. Go ahead.
For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who had gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief.
So despite everything that was going on, you had some people that say, oh, I like what's going on. Look at the state. Look at all the stuff that's happening. So in the midst of all the stuff that's going on, you had some people that overlooked all of that and say, hey, let's go and do that and be like them. Okay, now let's go back to the third chapter, verse 29
First Maccabees 1,
or 3.
First Maccabees 3 and 29. Nevertheless, when he saw that the money of his treasures failed, and that the tributes of the country were small, because of the dissension and plague which he had brought upon the land, and taken away the laws which had been of old time, he feared that he should not be able to bear the charges any longer, nor to have such gifts to give so liberally as he did before. For he had abounded above the kings that were before him. Wherefore, being greatly perplexed in his mind.
So why did he abound before the kings before him? Think about it. Because he had not touched the Israelites yet and made them to leave their laws. Now he fell into a slump and he's going into poverty now. This is Antiochus, Epiphanes, the root that came out of Antiochus, the root that came out of Alexander. Go ahead.
He determined to go into Persia, there to take the tributes of the countries and to gather much money. So he left Lysias, a nobleman, and one of the blood royal, to oversee the affairs of the king from the river Euphrates unto the borders of Egypt, and to bring up his son Antiochus until he came again. Moreover, he delivered unto him half of his forces and the elephants, and gave them charge of all things that he would have done, as also concerning them that dwelt in Judah and Jerusalem, to wit, that he should send an army against them, to destroy and root out the strength of Israel and the remnant of Jerusalem, and to take away their memorial from that place, and that he should place strangers in all their quarters and divide their land by lot.
See, are you seeing what they was doing? Saying, hey, we're gonna get rid of every memory of them. Send them to destroy and root out their strength. Take away their memorial. The memorial is everything that commemorates. Say, for instance, inside of your house, you got things that commemorate timepieces, relics, photographs, pictures. I mean, they're gonna wipe your memory. This is what they're saying. Go in and wipe their memory. We don't want them to remember anything. Anything that's related to the history and to their past, get rid of it. So every generation that's born after them will not know anything. Why do you think we're so dumbed down? And why do you think we don't, when we're trying to take the American history away from the so-called black man, the Israelite, they don't want to let it go. So when you're trying to take a Valentine's Day and say, no, who was Cupid? And there is no saint named Valentine. Cupid is a demon, a fornicating devil. That's an imaginary idol. Your woman don't like it. She what if she wanted? What about how she feel? They have nothing else to go off of. There what's been stamped and seared in our mind, the American history, that's the only thing that we have now. That's why we got to return back unto the Father, return back into the Most High. Right, Javon? Put your book on the table and look at it. That's why when we got to return back into the Most High. People don't want to let that stuff go because when you take that from them, they figure, I don't have nothing. But that's why you got to know this to give this to them and say, well, this is what you have. They took this away from you. This is about you. All the holidays and things that they commemorating are days to where they slaughtered and destroyed our people. All right. So they did away with the memorial from that place, and that he should place strangers in their quarters. The quarter is your house. Every section of this place, put a stranger there. We're going to take them up out of this place and send them away, put them into captivity. That's what their plan was. We're going to kill their sons, possess the women, have the children to go along and do what we say. We'll be nice to them. Come here, boy. The little boy can't do nothing and can't say nothing. And divide their land. This is what happened. Verse 37.
So the king took the half of the forces that remained and departed from Antioch, his royal city, the 147th year. And having passed the river Euphrates, he went through the high countries. Then Lysias chose Ptolemy, the son of Dormenes, and Nicanor, and Georgias, mighty men of the king's friends. And with them he sent 40,000 footmen, 7,000 horsemen, to go into the land of Judah and to destroy it, as the king commanded.
So there's 40,000 people on foot. These are walking soldiers. Do you know how that looks? 40,000 people. 40,000 people. They're not coming to just say hello. They coming to kill all men. 7,000 on horses. That's just gonna ride around and slice and dice and kill people that are walking and running around for their life. Go into the land, destroy it. This is our orders. When it says the king commanded, that's an order. Everybody watch television, right? You ever seen something? And a lot of you, I've talked to us before this, like sisters, you don't like to watch a lot of army-based movies. You better get that out of your system. Because the soap opera gonna go away. And all the stories and laughter, Moesha and what's all these other little shows that y'all like. That's so funny. All that, you're gonna be able to see that. The reason why I employ you to watch these things so that you can see the behavior that they depict on their behavior, how they have people act. So when you see these military movies, do you want me to tell you why they put the mask, they put the helmet on, they put the mask on? That's the uniform. And then they give them orders. Now it's called orders. Here it's called commanded. But they give them orders to do this. So now you've got a Power Ranger. He's got a helmet on. He's got goggles. His mouth is covered. His face is covered. He's got the suit on. He's got a badge on. Oh, and he's got hatred. So yes, he could kill this man because that's what he want to do. He been waiting to do that. Now he sees something that he likes. He can take this because this is what he wants to do. But then he sees this woman. If this woman is not attractive enough to ravish, dumb, stupid broad, look at her. Bam, he'll bust her head. He's gonna put her to death. But if this one here is spunky and pretty, if he's aroused, then he's gonna do what he's gonna do. Why the helmet? Why the mask? Because he's desensitized. That's right. He's desensitized. He don't want you. You're not looking at him like a human being. You cannot reach the human side of that person, the man side. If you see his face and hear his voice, you'll be able to reach him and say, hey man, don't you got a family at home? You got a father, you got a mother, you got children, why are you doing us like this? But you're not addressing that. You seeing a costume. So that makeup, that giddy up, that soldier outfit, that's terrorizing right there. So they leave that on. That's what you see. They hide behind that. That's why they're going to have the helmet on, eyes covered, the mouth covered. Every time you sisters, you see something like that, you change the channel. You don't understand that this is what they feeding the modern day soldier to behave like that. You don't even understand in a situation of combat what you're going to face. Because you're not seeing that this is how they behave. You just change the channel. They got orders. Their orders is to seek out and destroy. They're gonna spoil, and if they feel like ravishing, that's ravishing. That means rape. They'll do that, and it's disgusting, but they'll do that. So, and this was a lot of people. So they didn't come in here to negotiate and ask, do you want to leave? Or this is eminent domain. We're going to take over with a bullhorn. Leave your property. No. They came in automatically. We killing everybody that we see. Verse 40.
So they went forth with all their power and came and pitched by Emmaus and the plain country. And the merchants of the country, hearing the fame of them, took silver and gold very much with servants and came into the camp to buy the children of Israel for slaves. A power also of Syria and of the land of the Philistines joined themselves with them. Now when Judas...
So more Edomites and Ishmaelites took their personal possessions and with some of their servants to control and to carry us as merchandise, came and say, hey, I'll take this, I'll take that, to buy us as slaves. So remember, I said they was getting us out of the land, and that's how they got into the land. They was getting us out of the land, trying to put us into captivity and taking our items and taking our stuff. The people of Syria and the Philistines was receiving us from these Grecians. Verse 42.
Now, when Judas
Come
and
ahead, question.
The Philistines, they be the so-called Africans.
No, I believe they were Ishmaelites at the time.
Ishmaelites.
Okay, go ahead.
verse 42, now when Judas and his brethren saw that the miseries were multiplied, and that the forces did encamp themselves in their borders, for they knew how the king had given commandment to destroy the people and utterly abolish them, they said one to another, let us restore the decayed estate of our people, and let us fight for our people and the sanctuary. Then was the congregation gathered together, that they might be ready for battle, and that they might pray and ask mercy and compassion. Now Jerusalem lay void as a wilderness.
So as we continue, I hate to keep stopping us, but to do the spirit, so many points jump out. There were some people that got lost, but then there were some that got saved. Verse 42, Judas and his brethren saw miseries multiplied, and that the forces did encamp themselves in their borders, for they knew how the king had given commandment to destroy the people and to abolish them. The Most High didn't allow Judas and his brethren them to be affected because they were commandment keepers. They were the apple of the Most High's eye. So look at what happens when you keep the commandments versus when you, let's just say the ones that were getting sold for slavery. There are no mistakes with the Most High. What was the difference in their life? What decisions did they make? Bear with me. I want to make a point and show you what I'm saying. 2 Maccabees 15. Second Maccabees chapter 15 and verse 30. Read it slow. Let me tell you the difference between, just an opinion, at this time, Judas and his brethren, and in those that fell into the hand of the Syrian and those of the land of the Philistines. Go ahead.
Second Maccabees chapter 15 and 30. And Judas, who was ever the chief defender of the citizens.
Right. So he's a chief, meaning main. A main defender. Go ahead.
Both in body and mind.
His body and his mind and his spirit. Go ahead.
Who continued his love toward his countrymen all his life.
Right. So he continued his love towards his country. That's it. We're going to go back. All of his life. He was there during the time where these Israelites got sold for slaves. The Most High could have had him and his brothers, but he didn't. The Most High made a decision to not let them get captured, but to use them as a battle axe to use them as a force to be reckoned with to fight this fight. How do you want the Most High to see you? Somebody to be captured or somebody to be a force to be reckoned with? Let's say that you have a choice, and your choice simply stands in your behavior. Like it said with him. He said, it says that he was a defender of the citizens, and he continued his love towards his countrymen. What are you doing? His body he put out there, he put his mind out there. What are you doing with your body? What are you doing with your mind? Are you applying it towards Israel? Or are you selfishly living and walking the walk that you see fit for you? Is your life based upon me, I, or is it based upon what is good for Israel? Because if it's good for what's good for Israel, then I can see the Most High saving you. No, don't touch my anointed. Don't touch this person and capture that one there. I'm going to use him. That one there, you can get him. He's no good for me. The Lord said he has no need for what? Oh, y'all know that precept already. Therefore, the sinful ones can go into captivity. The ones that he wants to use, okay, I'm gonna use them. All right, so let's get back to it. Just an angle to look at. So in 42, Judas and his brethren saw the miseries were multiplied and that the forces did encamp themselves. Verse 43, they said one to another, let us restore the decayed estate of our people, and let us fight for our people and for the sanctuary. I don't think that they just started carrying that day. Think about it. Let's examine this. Can somebody on this street that's not affiliated with the Most High say, let's restore the decayed state of the people and the sanctuary? Y'all kind of understand what I'm saying? It would have to be in you already, right? Let's make sure that this is in us. This is the principal thing. This should be over everything. Don't allow yourself to be distracted, blah, blah, blah. Don't allow yourself to be distracted. Don't allow yourself to go to the left or to the right. Allow yourself, your spirit, your torch to be lit fervent. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 44. Then was the congregation gathered together, that they might be ready for battle, and that they might pray and ask mercy and compassion. Now Jerusalem lay void as a wilderness. There was none of her children that went in or out. The sanctuary also was trodden down, and aliens kept the stronghold. The heathen had their habitation in that place, and joy was taken from Jacob, and the pipe with the harp ceased.
All right, so there was no traveling, coming back and forth. Typically looking like a city, people moving around and things like that, coming and going as they wanted to. There was none of that. The temple was tore up. Aliens, not from outer space, but rednecks was there. They set up shop in that place. And nobody was happy. Joy was taken from Jacob. Nobody was happy. And there was no music playing. You see how we are musical people now? Everybody singing songs and humming, this, that, and the third, and doing all of that. None of that. It was complete chaos. It was all bad. When we sin, it gets bad. Verse 46.
Wherefore the Israelites assembled themselves together and came to Maspha over against Jerusalem, For Masphah was the place where they prayed aforetime in Israel. Then they fasted that day, and put on sackcloth, and cast ashes upon their heads, and rent their clothes.
So when you fast, you remember you're confessing your sins and confessing your faults. Fasting should work. I've had somebody that I talked to about fasting. They said they were up under a stronghold. They say they fasted. They prayed the whole time. The Most High heard the prayer, redeemed them from that. They not looking backwards. Just that fast. So they fasted unto the Most High. They sent their prayers. Okay. Now you're at verse 48. Go ahead.
And laid open the book of the law.
So then they found the book of the law and opened it up. Go ahead.
Wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images.
So making mockery. They painted what? They painted pink pictures, pink and red pictures of themselves inside of the scriptures, making mockery. So if you wanted to know, and now they still do it. So it's a habit. Right now today, you can find any book, any so-called Bible, and flip it open, and you will see Romans with linen wrapped around them in it. That's First Maccabees 3 and verse 48. That's the fulfilling of that. This is when the first time it happened. It's not the book of the heathens. Verse 49.
They brought also the priest's garments, and the first fruits, and the tithes, and the Nazarites they stirred up, who had accomplished their days. Then cried they with a loud voice toward heaven, saying, What shall we do with these? And whither shall we carry them away? For thy sanctuary is trodden down and profaned, and thy priests are in heaviness and brought low. And lo, the heathen are assembled together against us to destroy us. What things they imagine against us, thou knowest. How shall we be able to stand against them, except thou, O God, be our help? Then sounded they with trumpets and cried with a loud voice.
What was their problem in verse 53? How shall we be able to stand against them except thou be our help? What was their problem in the beginning? Sin. Then they shouted or cried or sounded with trumpets and cried with a loud voice. Verse 55.
And after this, Judas ordained captains over the people, even captains over thousands, over hundreds, over fifties, and over tens. But as for such as were building houses, or had betrothed wives, or were planting vineyards, or were fearful, those he commanded that they should return.
Why? Finish it.
Every man to his own house according to the law.
Yeah, it was the law. But also, what's another reason why? They would be building houses, having wives, betrothed wives, planting vineyards, fearful. They'll be distracted. Yeah, this is law too. And I don't say this, I don't mean no harm, but just because it's the law, does that not mean that a person would not want to be involved? Remember, I'm never going to speak evil of the law. The law, it's telling you to attend to your house. It's telling you. Deuteronomy 20. Deuteronomy chapter 20 and verse 5.
Deuteronomy 20 and 5. And the officers shall speak unto the people, saying, what man is there that hath built a new house, and have not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man dedicate it. And what man is he that hath planted a vineyard, and have not yet eaten of it? Let him also go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man eat of it.
So the dedication, let's see. In verse 5, you built a house and you got to dedicate it. That's giving thanks unto the Most High. You build something, you get something like that. It's like you giving thanks. Bear with me. I can make the sense of it. So it's going into you building this thing unto the Father, to the Most High, and you are so grateful when the Most High does something for you. You're so super grateful. You are appreciative. You show your appreciation unto the Most High. So he's saying you building and you don't get to finish it and show the Lord your gratitude. So he's saying go back and finish it unless you die in battle, and then somebody else finish it, and then they praise the Most High for it. That's what it's saying. All right. So that's the dedication. And what's the next part?
Verse 6.
So dedicate the house. Yes, verse 6.
And what man is he that hath planted a vineyard, and hath not yet eaten of it? Let him also go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man eat of it. And what man is there that hath betrothed a wife, and have not taken her? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man take her. And the officers shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say, what man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return unto his house, lest his brethren's heart faint as well as his heart.
Now, so though this is written in the law, and you can do that, it seems as if you can make a choice. Because when I say that, well, I ain't speaking evil of the law, but I know me. So me, I probably would still want to move forward. Yeah, I started building on the house, but I got the faith it's going to be there. Yeah, I started planting the vineyard. Okay, the vineyard is going to be there. The Most High is going to be with me. Yeah, I betrothed the wife. The woman is going to be there. Lord's will. The problem is, why would this law be there? And what is he trying to prevent with this law? What is he trying to prevent? I can't hear anybody. No.
Men being distracted, not having their head in the fight.
Okay. Let's say right. Men being distracted, not having their head in the fight. All right. And is there anything else you want to add to that? Okay. Anybody else? What was you saying?
I said others making the next man scared or faint-hearted.
That's it. That's it. Making the next man afraid. You out there sounding like a coward. You out there, not being distracted. The next man is afraid. You complaining. You got your mind on your house. You got your mind on your beautiful woman. You got your mind on your vineyard. You got your mind on this, that, and the third. You got your mind on something to lose. Now you reminding him like, I got something I can lose. I got something to lose. Now you don't want to be there, and who else don't want to be there? The man you talking to. He don't want to be there. Yeah, it's he don't want to be there. So that's what that's for. All right. So let's go back. Yeah.
Mark 1. And then, so Mark 1 and verse 30, and then also get Matthew 19 and 27. So we can kind of go to them real quick. To kind of show how, even though this was a law, this was a choice. So Mark 1, we'll go to Mark 1 and 31st. Actually, we'll start at 29. Mark 1:29. It says, and forthwith, when they were come out of the synagogue, they entered into the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John. So this Simon is Simon Peter. So verse 30. And Simon's wife's mother lay sick of fever. So who knew that Simon had a wife? Did y'all brothers know that Simon married? So Simon Peter is the same person that Christ said upon this rock he would build his church, right? Mm-hmm. So the work that Simon did, what didn't he let get in the way? His wife. So now when you go to Matthew chapter 19 and verse 27. So it's Matthew 19 and 27. Then answered Peter, so this is the same Simon Peter, and said unto him, behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? So when he said we forsook, I didn't say he necessarily left his wife, left her as a widow, walked away from her, but when he said we have forsaken all, he didn't let anything get in the way of the walk that Christ, yet how should I put him on? He didn't let nothing prevent him. He didn't let nothing stop him. Everything that he was supposed to do, he did it. So that law in Deuteronomy is there, but it's not for, okay, we're going to hold to this law. That show what kind of man you are. Mm-hmm. You know, you more concerned about which, not speaking against people because the law is the law, but Yahweh put us on this journey now to redeem Israel, because you got to look at the times we're in. The world is desperately wicked. The Most High is trying to wake Israel up so that number that's meant to make it, he can. And when he seal them, then this world can be shut down. But Peter, they didn't let those carnal things get in the way of the walk. So even though that law is there, brothers, we can't let the carnal things get in the way of what the Most High is trying to get us to do.
And that's hard, especially if you are emotional, soft-hearted, tender-hearted, lovey-dovey. If you're not the Most High first, I'm a very emotional, sensitive, loving, caring type of person when it comes to my family and my wife. But when it comes to the scriptures, that's something totally different. Something totally different. Now you cross the line, or that's a line that I don't cross. And I don't know if I'm describing that right, but this is the type of person that they'll lose their mind. Like the scriptures are being played. You're trying to be spiritual with them, but the flesh is an issue or a problem. They'll be thinking about carnal things. And that's why that law is there. Well, if you're thinking about it, go to it. The house that you're building. Well, go and finish dedicating it. Your mind obviously is on that. You're thinking about the woman, okay, go home. You're not strong enough. 1 Corinthians 7. You're not strong enough. 7:29. You're not strong enough to function as though you have a woman and still fight the fight of the Lord. 1 Corinthians 7:29.
1 Corinthians 7 and verse 29. But this I say, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none.
Right. So, and that's how Simon was. And if you can't be like that, it's going to be tough. Some people, they let marriage affect them. They let the job affect them. They let their house affect them. They cannot handle and juggle both things at the same time. Then you gotta wait on your ministrating of the scriptures of the spirit. That's why they got sent home and not sent to war. And that's what we're trying to say. That's what that meant. But if somebody can be as though they had none, if they got that the spirit will have to be in them and on them and with them to do that, you wouldn't even know that they would have the confidence that it would already be in their spirit. That's going to be well, say less. So do we understand? But if you send somebody out there and that's on their mind, that's what's going to be on their mind. They're going to talk about it. They're going to present an issue and a problem while they're out there. And they're going to get somebody hurt. They might even get themselves hurt. Ducking and dodging, like, get up, what you doing? Get you stabbed trying to tell him to get up. Now you had to turn your back. So okay, so let's go back to it.
First Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 57. So the camp removed and pitched upon the south side of Emmaus. And Judas said, arm yourselves and be valiant men, and see that ye be in readiness against the morning, that ye may fight with these nations that are assembled together against us to destroy us and our sanctuary. For it is better for us to die in battle than to behold the calamities of our people and our sanctuary. Nevertheless, as the will of God is in heaven, so let him do.
All right, so they felt sure it's better for us to die fighting, trying, than to actually be captured and just see this thing go down and we do nothing about it. So we're going to do something about it. Go to the 5th chapter. And now verse 1.
First Maccabees 5 and 1. Now when the nations round about heard that the altar was built, and the sanctuary renewed as before, it displeased them very much. Wherefore they thought to destroy the generation of Jacob that was among them. And thereupon they began to slay and to destroy the people. Then Judas fought against the children of Esau and Idumea at Arabatine, because they besieged Israel, and he gave them a great overthrow, and abated their courage, and took their spoils. Also, he remembered the injury of the children of Bean, who had been a snare and an offense unto the people, and that they lay in wait for them in the ways. He shut them up, therefore, in the towers, and encamped against them, and destroyed them utterly, and burned the towers of that place with fire, and all that were therein. Afterward, he passed over to the children of Ammon, where he fought a mighty power and much people with Timotheus their captain. So he fought many battles with them, till at length they were discomfited before him, and he smote them. And when he had taken Jezor with the towns belonging thereto, he returned into Judea. Then the heathen that were at Gilead assembled themselves together against the Israelites that were in their quarters to destroy them, but they fled to the fortress of Dartmouth, and sent letters unto Judas and his brethren. The heathen that are round about us are assembled together against us to destroy us, and they are preparing to come and to take the fortress whereunto we are fled, Timotheus being captain of their host. Come now, therefore, and deliver us from their hands, for many of us are slain. Yea, all our brethren that were in the places of Tobiah are put to death. Their wives and their children also they have carried away captives, and borne away their stuff. They have destroyed their about 1,000 men. While these letters were yet reading, behold, there came other messengers from Galilee with their clothes rent, who reported on this wise, and said, they of Ptolemais and of Tyrus and of Zidon and of all Galilee of the Gentiles are assembled together against us to consume us. Now when Judas and the people heard these words, there assembled a great congregation together to consult what they should do for their brethren that were in trouble, and assaulted of them. Then said Judas unto Simon his brother, choose thee out men, and go and deliver thy brethren that are in Galilee. For I and Jonathan my brother will go into the country of Gilead. So he left Joseph the son of Zacharias and Azarias captains of the people with the remnant of the host in Judea to keep it, unto whom he gave commandments, saying, take ye the charge of this people, and see that ye make not war against the heathen until the time that we come again. Now unto Simon were given 3,000 men to go into Galilee, and unto Judas 8,000 men for the country of Gilead. Then went Simon into Galilee, where he fought many battles with the heathen, so that the heathen was discomfited by him. And he pursued them unto the gate of Ptolemais, and there was slain of the heathen about 3,000 men, whose spoils he took. And those that were in Galilee and Arabatias, with their wives and their children, unto all that they had, took he away with him, and brought them into Judea with great joy. Judas Maccabeus also and his brother Jonathan went over Jordan, and traveled 3 days' journey into the wilderness, where they met with the Nabathites, who came unto them in a peaceable manner, and told them everything that had happened to their brethren in the land of Gilead, and how that many of them were shut up in Basra and Besor and Elima, Casphor, Maked, and Carnium. All these cities are strong and great, and that they were shut up in the rest of the cities of the country of Gilead, and that against tomorrow they had appointed to bring their hosts against their forts, and to take them and to destroy them all in one day. Whereupon Judas and his host turned suddenly by the way of the wilderness unto Besora. And when he had won the city, he slew all the males with the edge of the sword, and took all their spoils, and burned the city with fire. From whence he removed by night, and went till he had came to the fortress. And betimes in the morning he looked up, and behold, there was an innumerable people bearing ladders, and other engines of war to take the fortress, for they had assaulted them. When Judas therefore saw that the battle was begun, and that the cry of the city went up to heaven with trumpets and a great sound, he said unto his host, fight this day for your brethren. So he went forth behind them in three companies, who sounded their trumpets and cried with prayer. Then the host of Timotheus, knowing that it was Maccabees, fled from him. Wherefore he smote them with a great slaughter, so that there were killed of them that day about 8,000 men. This done, Judas turned aside to Masphah, and after he had assaulted it, he took it, and slew all the males therein, and received the spoils thereof, and burnt it with fire. From thence he went and took Sesphon, and Maged, and Besor, and the other cities of the country of Gilead. After these things gathered Timotheus another host, and encamped against Raphan beyond the brook. So Judas sent men to espy the host, who brought him back word, saying, all the heathen that be round about us are assembled unto them, even a very great host. He had also hired the Arabians to help them, and they had pitched their tents beyond the brook, ready to come and fight against thee. Upon this Judas went to meet them. Then Timotheus said unto the captains of his host, when Judas and his host come near the brook, if he come pass over first unto us, we shall not be able to withstand him, for he will mightily prevail against us. But if he be afraid and camp beyond the river, we shall go over unto him and prevail against him. Now when Judas came near the brook, he caused the scribes of the people to remain by the brook, unto whom he gave commandment, saying, suffer no man to remain in the camp, but let all come to the battle. So he went first over unto them, and all the people after him. Then all the heathen, being discomfited before him, cast away their weapons and fled into the temple that was at Carnium. But they took that city and burned the temple with all that were therein. Thus was Carnium subdued, neither could they stand any longer before Judas. Then Judas gathered together all the Israelites that were in the country of Gilead, from the least unto the greatest, even their wives and their children and their stuff, a very great host, to the end they might come into the land of Judea. Now when they came unto Ephron, this was a great city in the way as they should go, very fortified. They could not turn from it, either on the right hand or the left, but must needs pass through the midst of it. Then they of the city shut them out and stopped up the gates with stones. Whereupon Judas sent unto them in a peaceable manner, saying, let us pass through your land to go into our own country, and none shall do you any hurt. We will only pass through on foot, howbeit they would not open unto him. Wherefore Judas commanded a proclamation to be made throughout the host, that every man should pitch his tent in the place where he was. So the soldiers pitched and assaulted the city all that day and all that night, till at the length the city was delivered into his hands, who then slew all the males with the edge of the sword, and razed the city, and took the spoils thereof, and passed through the city over them that were slain. After this went they over Jordan into the great plain before Bethshan, and Judas gathered together the host that came behind, and exhorted the people all the way through, till they came into the land of Judea. So they went up to the Mount Zion with joy and gladness, where they offered burnt offerings, but not one of them were slain until they had returned in peace. Now, what time as Judas and Jonathan were in the land of Gilead, Simon his brother in Galilee before Ptolemais, Joseph the son of Zacharias, and Azarias, captains of the garrisons, heard of the valiant acts and warlike deeds which they had done. Wherefore they said, let us also get us a name, and go fight against the heathen that are round about us. So when they had given charge unto the garrison that was with them, they went to toward to Jamnia. Then came Georgias and his horsemen and his men out of their city to fight against them. And so it was that Joseph and Azarias were put to flight and pursued unto the borders of Judea. And there was slain that day of the people of Israel about 2,000 men. Thus was there a great overthrow among the children of Israel, because they were not obedient unto Judas and his brethren, but thought to do some valiant act. Moreover, these men came not of the seed of those by whose hand deliverance was given unto Israel. Howbeit the man Judas and his brethren were greatly renowned in the sight of all Israel, and of all the heathen whatsoever their name was heard of.
So why did those people lose their life?
Because they didn't listen to Judas.
Because they didn't listen to Judas. So they listened to Zacharias and Azariah. And even though it sounded right, it wasn't. They should have listened. They should have knew what was right. And they should have persuaded them to say, no, let's not do this. Or they should have said, I'm not gonna go, even if it would have went to the point to where, oh, I'm sorry, you said Joseph. You know, if Joseph would have just went himself and nobody else, he wouldn't have went himself. So you gotta know where and how the Most High and who the Most High is dealing with. You're supposed to know that and be convinced and persuaded and say, okay, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna go against this. This is not right. So yeah, they lost their life. 2,000 men. So go ahead.
Verse 64. Much as the people assembled unto them with joyful acclamations. Afterward, when Judas fought with his brethren and fought against the children of Esau in the land toward the south, where he smote Hebron and the towns thereof, and pulled down the fortress of it, and burned the towers thereof round about. From thence he removed to go into the land of the Philistines, and passed through Samaria.
Stop. When you read 65, afterward when Judas fought and his brother and fought against the children of Esau in the land towards the south. Okay, go ahead. I ain't gonna force that. Go ahead.
Verse 67. At that time, certain priests, desirous to show their valor, were slain in battle, for that they went out to fight unadvisedly.
Every time somebody jumps up and say, hey, this is what I'm gonna do, the Most High always slaps them back down. So even in today's time, don't be desirous of vainglory. You got to be patient. When it's your time for the Most High to use you, I ain't gonna even say your time to shine, but when it's your time for the Most High to use you, the Most High, He's going to use you, but make sure you are somebody that's found faithful. The Most High is not going to use you if you looking at somebody else and you want to be like it says about Judas. Howbeit in 63, the man Judas and his brethren were greatly renowned in the sight of all Israel. Now you in your time, you're making these choices and decisions to, if you're making choices and decisions to do drugs, sleep with women, do all manner of wickedness, but you're still around and you notice the glamour that's on men. You say, oh, I want that type of fame too. I want that recognition too. I want to be called great too. You're not going to get that from the Most High. It says, whatsoever their name was heard of. That's called having a good name right there. In verse 64, so much as the people assembled unto them. You see people assembled to them. They put the work in. You have to repent. if you're in the midst of sin and you ain't shining and you see other people shining and you're like, oh man, I want this and I want that, you have to repent. That's covetous and that's vainglory right there. It's enough work out here for everybody, but you're gonna have to be patient and wait for your time until the Most High decides to promote you. The Most High gonna lift you up and he's gonna promote you. A real brother wants to see his brother exalted, lifted up, promoted, shining, right along with him. If not equally, but surpassing him. A real man wanting to see you. But if you wicked, nah. The wicked is not supposed to reign. The hypocrite is not supposed to reign because the people are snared by that. Hypocrisy and sin got us in this situation. Be humbled. You got to be the Most High. We want the Most High to move you out of the way. But if you're a good person and you humble, we want the Most High to lift you up. So just wanted to bring that in. Where you at? Oh, so when you got down to 67, there were priests that lost their life. Everybody keeps jumping up. I want to turn. I want to turn. They would have kept their life if they had stayed humbled in their place. So Judas returned to Azotus in the land of the Philistines, and when he had pulled down their altars and burned their carved images with fire, he spoiled their cities and returned into the land of Judea. Bear with me. So Judas did all of this. Chapter 6, he did more fighting, him and his brothers. To the point to where he was a dagger in the back. Of the Greeks. Now we got to implement, we're going to trim a little bit, and you can read 6 on your own. For time constraint, and we'll jump to chapter 7. So start there. Chapter 7 and verse 1.
First Maccabees chapter 7 and 1. In the 150th year, Demetrius, the son of Seleucus, departed from Rome, and came up with a few men unto a city of the seacoast and reigned there. And as he entered into the palace of his ancestors, so it was that his forces had taken Antiochus and Lysias to bring them unto him. Wherefore when he knew it, he said, let me not see their faces. So his host slew them. Now when Demetrius was set up upon the throne of his kingdom, there came unto him all the wicked and ungodly men of Israel, having Alchemists, who was desirous to be high priest, for their captain. And they accused the people to the king, saying, Judas and his brethren have slain all thy friends, and driven us out of our own land. Now therefore send some man whom thou trustest, and let him go and see what havoc he hath made among us, and in the king's land, and let him punish them with all them that aid them. Then the king chose Bachides, a friend of the king, who ruled beyond the flood, and was a great man in the kingdom, and faithful to the king.
In the 5th verse, what's Alchemist's issue? He's desirous to be high priest. Desirous. Everybody that's desirous always what? They always fall. They always get destroyed. So for him to be desirous, remember, instead of dealing with the Father, the Most High, who is he dealing with? He's dealing with the heathens. Because the Most High wouldn't give him the high priesthood. The high priesthood is commanding the whole nation of Israel. All right, go ahead.
Verse 9. And he sent with the wicked alchemist whom he had made high priest, and commanded that he should take vengeance of the children of Israel.
Right, because if you control, remember, a lot of times when you're trying to control your people, you got to get somebody that look like you. That's alchemist's job. That looks like us. So during the time of Christ, go to the book of John. John 11, yes, St. John 11. And we'll start at verse 45.
St. John chapter 11 and verse 45. Then many of the Jews which came to Mary and had seen the things which Yahushua did believed on him.
So that's a problem. Not in reality. Not in reality to the Israelites or to the ones that believe, but ones like alchemists and the Romans. Because remember, this happened 100 and less than 50 years before Christ. All of this stuff happened. So this is the same issue. 150 years, it's a long time. It ain't a long time, a couple of generations. And we still have that same issue. So you got Israelites, you got Jews that believed on Christ. Pharisees, that was like alchemists. All right, go ahead.
But some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them what things Yahushua had done. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council.
Same thing. Like the Pharisees or the wicked of Israel, the Jews would go until alchemists or Lyceus, the Romans. So they came together and they put this council together and they began to talk. Go ahead.
And said, what do we? For this man doeth many miracles.
Right. What we need to do something. This guy is doing a lot of stuff. Go ahead.
If we let him thus alone,
meaning if we let him continue to do it, go ahead.
All men will believe on him.
Who is the all men? No, see, that hold up for a second. See, you're right. When you say Jews and Gentiles, that statement is in the Gospels. Did God create Israel into Jews and Gentiles, or did he create Israel?
Israel.
He created Israel. Captivity created us into Jews and Gentiles. We read about that in Maccabees, the first chapter. When yet many of the Israelites consented to his religion. So soon as you consent to being lawless and were not following the Most High, now you consent to follow a Gentile is a non-Israelite. Now I'm going to follow not being Israel, what the Most High said to do. So we understand. So captivity and invasions created Israelite Gentiles, not the Most High. So when he say all men, he's talking about Israel. What happened was, remember, why did Lycia go to the government back then? Or alchemists. Why did alchemists go to the government? Because he was desiring control. The high priest controls the nation. They controls the realm. They controls the people. So during this time, he said, well, if we let this guy do whatever he wants to do, all men are going to believe on him. So he got this council together with the Levitical priesthood and say, hey, we got to stop him. What do? We need to stop him because people are going to continue to believe on him. But we ain't got to the part yet. Go ahead.
Verse 48, if we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans
And the Romans, go ahead.
shall come and take away both our place.
Take away our job. Take away our place. Take away our responsibility. Take away our power. Take away our control. Go ahead.
And nation.
And we don't need them. And they won't need us no more because they already had the nation. That's why they were there in the land. So do we understand?
Mm-hmm.
The Most High wouldn't give them power. That's why they were usurped by Yahushua. The Levitical priesthood was usurped by the Messiah. And that's why they were instrumental in killing him. The Most High sent him and he usurped them. Even though he was subject to him. So I ain't speaking again. He was subject to him. He walked amongst them. He listened to him. He spoke to him. He taught next to him. But his authority and his gospel at times appeared to usurp their authority, to be different. And oftentimes was misunderstood to the point to where they destroyed him. They killed him, hung him on a tree. So that authority to give life and take life away and to do all their wicked bidding and to be hypocrites, the Romans let them do that. So now let's go back to 1 Maccabees chapter 7. That's where you stop at, right?
Mhm. Verse 9, now 10. First Maccabees 7 and
We'll reiterate the
verse
point.
9. And he sent with that wicked alchemist whom he had made high priest.
Right, whom he made high priest. Because the point that I was reaching was he made alchemists high priest because alchemists began to be a puppet. He controlled alchemists. Alchemists controlled the people. The same thing happened during the time of the Messiah.
Right.
They didn't want to lose that. They say, oh man, if we let this guy, we're going to lose. We're going to lose our place with the Romans. So a lot of these people, mainly all the people that be in high places today, people of your own nation, they are puppets, man. They be controlled by these Romans, modern day Romans. These Edomites, they be controlled by them. So you expect them to cut you some type of break? They're not going to lose their place. They're not going to lose their job for you. That's why you better not be caught tripping, doing the wrong thing, looking for mercy from this guy because y'all got the same skin tone. Apply the scriptures. Mercy comes from God. Apply the scriptures. You don't need this guy to be merciful to you because you're not doing nothing wrong. That's how you got to walk. That's how you got to live. That's how you got to think. Don't make it a burden or a problem to live on the straight and narrow. Get used to the yoke, to the restrictions, to the strap way. Strap is the way. Get used to that. That's a lifestyle, man. Don't let it burden. Don't be grieved by that. You should embrace that to where you feel like I got all the room in the world to live like this. This is good right here. That's going to keep you safe. Because if you go and you start looking for mercy from somebody that's controlled, they a puppet, they not giving you no mercy. They like, I'm not losing my job for you. I'm not losing my place for you. I don't have that type of authority. Yet you go to the next person with the same, you go to the next person with the same job description, with the same position that give you half the store. And y'all know I'm right. They give you so much more. It happened to me it happens all the time. You ask somebody for something simple as just right. I can't do that. You come over here. You would of another color, another skin complexion. This is the problem that I'm having. Oh, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. Me and you don't know that. Some you do, some you don't. About a 19, about not 19, a 22. Brand new. 22 Honda. Had a few scratches on it. I said, there's no way I should have a car with scratches on it. Take it to them. They take him out. They get him out. They say, oh, I see you particular. We got a tough one right here. I said, well, I've been long suffering. I tell you, I waited a long time. I've been trying not to buy no car. I finally bought a car, right? They said, well, I would advise if you like this, maybe you should get this. You should get our ceramic thing, this, that, and the third. I say, okay, how much it costs? They say X amount of dollars. I said, okay. I take it back to them. I brought the car home, didn't even drive it. Still don't drive it. I brought the car home, took it back to them. They put the ceramic on it. Slick. I mean, the thing shine like it ain't never been touched. But you know what I saw on it? I saw a dimple. I said, I want you to fix that. They said, oh man, this guy, you and me. I said, no. I said, ain't no other Honda out here got no dimple on it. I said, I don't even drive the car. This is a brand new car. It's sat in front of my house. Look at the miles on it. Still got 100 miles on it. I said, I ain't drove. I said, I got it from you like this. I'm talking to, remember that same guy I told y'all about? I kind of had an inspiring story with him. I said, oh, he was 20, he worked at 27, he runs the dealership, this, that. A brother, right? I said, he's a brother. I said, y'all do something with yourself. This guy escalated. I'm talking to this man of color. I go back in there and he tells me, oh, well, maybe we'll have to buy it back from you if you don't like it. I said, oh, I like it. I just want you to fix it. He said, what do you want me to do? I said, I don't care what you do. Tell Honda they sent you a car with a dent and I want it fixed. Just like that. I want it fixed. And I mean fixed like factory fixed. I don't want no body shop because body shop can't do it like a factory can. Whatever you need to do, I need it factory. Just like that. He said, oh, well, if we buy it back, I said, if you bought it back, you don't even understand. The price is down to double. I'm talking to him like that. I meant it. The price is almost double. I'm thinking about just saran wrapping it and seeing what I can get for it. The price is almost double if you buy it back from me. He tried to tell me, well, I don't know what to do, this, that, and the third. Somebody else, guy in service, he said, let me see what you're talking about. I said, okay. I said, call a detailer. They got a detailer that did the ceramic on it. He said, well, T, I don't know what you want me to do. My job is to detail. I did it. I said, what I want you to do is I want you to take this one part, make it shine so that when you look across it, you see the dimple. He said, okay. I said, that's all I'm asking you. I'm not saying you're at fault. They thought that I would just live with it and turn a blind eye, and only 4 people would know that it was there and it existed. Kasai drives down the street, pulls up next to the car, and like, you got a dents on your hood. So I come out to see what she's talking about. It's the same thing. So now that's 5. So if I could see it, now she saw it. So I'm back at the dealership, still under 100 miles. on a 2022. Straight off the truck. Nobody never drove it. Nobody never owned it. The guy came out, wiped it. Now, they over there looking at it like this. I said, when you looking, do you see that? That ain't supposed to be there. He said, yes, I see it. It's plastic and it's got a little wave in it. I said, that is something that I got a problem with. And I'm compelled not to come back here to this Honda. As a matter of fact, I had other people that I was really thinking about, like bringing on through, but I don't know. I'm not happy at this point. I did everything that y'all asked. I'm very particular about my stuff. You suggested that to help protect the surface, I get ceramic. Immediately, I brought it right back. I said that cost me 2 car notes right there. So now the ball's in your court. What are you gonna do about it? You know what that red man did? He said, let me see if it comes color coded from the factory. He said, hold up, I'll be back. He goes into the parts department. He come right back. He said, you know, it does. He said, it'll be here in a couple of weeks. I ordered it. You bring it back in. We'll ceramic. We'll put the coating back on it. We'll swap it out. It'll be like it never happened. I said, thank you. So my point, you expect people of the same skin complexion to lose their place? I asked him to replace the panel. I did. He said, no, it's not you got the hood, and then the hood, it's about that wide. It goes, it's right there before the grill. It's just got a little wave in it. They try to say, oh, it's held by clips, and maybe the clip sucked it in. I don't care what sucked it in. But it ain't sucked in on no other Hondas. Ours ain't sucked in. The one on the showroom floor ain't sucked in. I got to take one sucked in. I don't want that. I want you to fix it. Oh, we might do more damage than this, that, and the third. I'm sitting there thinking like, well, y'all professionals. Take it apart and put it back together without a scratch. And make it so that it ain't no issue. So I'm satisfied with it. The man said that's what they're gonna do. Our people ain't gonna lose their place. They puppets. They don't have the type of juice and the type of control that we think that they have. So don't rely on them. If it wasn't for the other guy coming up saying, say less, I'm gonna simplify this. I'm gonna make this easier for you. We'll replace it. The other guy was just compelled to let me walk out of the door salty and bitter than to go to war for a cause. Saying, well, I don't think it was like that when it left. Huh? How not? Does it look scratched? Does it look pounded? Do I look like somebody that's gonna scratch and pound it if I'm giving you X amount of dollars to shine it? Does it look like I'm finna pound it or see it pound it? Nah, they don't care about that. They have no control. In other words, these Edomites control people of color. That's the moral of the story. So don't look for them to help you in this world. They're not gonna help you. It's a lot of stories and incidents like that to where I can tell you, I've been at all like, yo, where's your juice? You have no juice? They get stuck. Where's your power? Ain't you the man? Ain't you the man? I go in these places and tell them, I want your nose to bleed. Let me take you to the point to where you in the nosebleed, man. To where I like bust you right into the nose. Give it away. This ain't your business. Ain't your shit. Give it away. You gonna get in trouble. You're gonna make everything that you possibly can make off of every situation. you know, I had to go there. Where's your compassion? Ain't you from a rundown, low down hood like me? You make everybody pay everything at all the time. Is it mics hitting mics or cameras in here, bro? Sell this for cost. What does it cost for this me and you? You know, they be getting control, man. So you can't expect nothing from these people, man. So we're gonna finish this.
First Maccabees 7 and 10. So they departed and came with a great power into the land of Judea, where they sent messengers to Judas and his brethren with peaceable words deceitfully. But they gave no heed to their words, for they saw that they were come with a great power. Then did there assemble unto Alchemists and Bachides a company of scribes to require justice. Now the Assyrians were the first among the children of Israel that sought peace of them. For said they, one that is a priest of the seed of Aaron is come with this army, and he will do us no wrong.
So they're talking about alchemists. They got him sadly mistaken. Go ahead.
So he spake unto them peacefully, and swore unto them, saying, We will procure thee harm, neither you nor your friends. Whereupon they believed him, howbeit he took of them 80 men and slew them in one day, according to the words which he wrote.
So they tortured them. Go ahead.
The flesh of thy saints have they cast out, and their blood have they shed round about Jerusalem.
Why would you torture somebody? Whenever you watching TV, when you see somebody being tortured, why are they torturing them? To get information. Alchemists went through 60 people. 60 people torturing them. He looked like a brother. He wasn't a brother. So every time you see somebody saying Shalom, Shalom, you think everybody is a Israelite. You think everybody is after the Most High. They're Israelites, but you think everybody is after the Most High. Everybody love the Most High. You love the Most High. They made that mistake. They trying to get information about Judas. People lost their lives, man. Go ahead.
And there was none to bury them. Wherefore the fear and dread of them fell upon all the people.
So he's talking about Psalm 79. That prophecy came to pass. So when you straight think that the scriptures ain't gonna come to pass, it's gonna come to pass. The flesh of thy saints have they cast out, and their blood have they shed round about Jerusalem. So there's blood everywhere, blood in the streets, dead bodies here, dead bodies there, and there was nobody to bury them. They didn't want the people to be buried because they wanted to instill that fear, like you're gonna listen to us, you're gonna do what we say, or you next. Go ahead.
Wherefore the fear and dread fell upon all the people, who said, There is neither truth nor righteousness in them. For they have broken the covenant and the oath that they made. After this removed Bachides from Jerusalem and pitched his tents in Bezek, where he sent and took many of the men that had forsaken him, and certain of the people also. And when he had slain them, he cast them into the great pit. Then committed he the country to Alchemists, and left with him a power to aid him.
So after killing Alchemist's own people, then he say, okay, Alchemist, you up. You seeing it in verse 20. Alchemist, this wicked Israelite, saw his people getting killed. I'll be slowing it down and pointing these things out so that you can see the history can repeat itself. Just because somebody got fringes on, they'll sit up and let other people kill other people just so that they can have power. So you better know who you trust. You better know, you gotta really prove a friend. Christ said you're gonna know people by their fruits. Alchemists just didn't begin to be wicked. If somebody is wicked, don't ever trust them, man. If they wicked, don't trust them. It's plain and simple. I understand that we have a fear of doing the right thing. I do. You got a fear of doing the wrong thing. I do. But you supposed to know people by their fruits. If this is a wicked person, you are a wicked person. And you are going to be a wicked person until you bring forth a straight change. I mean a change to where you are a different person a lot longer than you've been wicked. Other than that, you know, you wicked, waiting to display you wicked. And you might kill somebody or get somebody killed. Preserve life. Try to preserve your life. You got to be smart. Go ahead.
So Bacchides went to the king, but Alchemists contended for the high priesthood, and unto him resorted all such as troubled the people, who after they had gotten the land of Judah into their power, did much hurt in Israel.
What type of people was around alchemists? People that troubled the people. Verse 22, unto him resorted all such as troubled the people. Verse 22, unto him resorted, meaning everybody, unto him resorted all such, meaning type that did what? Troubled the people. So I'm pointing this out so that you can, as you live, you're going to be able to see this. If you see somebody wicked, every kind cleave it to his what? Cleave it to his light. So when if you see somebody wicked in charge, there are other people that's going to be around him. Those people are going to be wicked too. That's going to be a wicked regime. Do you understand that? That regime is going to be wicked. Therefore, you ain't going to get no righteous judgment. Don't expect a righteous judgment going to come from that. You are a fool to even be there. You need to run like heck from that situation. You cannot stand in front of they'll be using the scriptures too. Don't you think that they were using scriptures? They were using scriptures, playing on people's intelligence, playing on people's mind. Don't fall prey to that. Don't even be involved. So there are so many people that get hurt by people that abuse and misuse the Bible. It's called the Bible now, but the scriptures, they be wicked men. And they be hurt to the point to where, how could this happen? I was trying. Didn't you see the signs? Leave evil people alone. Oh, I'm trying. This brother, here's something good about him. Are you ridiculously stupid? Straight up. Leave these people alone. If they wicked, they're blinded. Everybody that deals with them is going to be following them, man. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Verse 23. Now when Judas saw all the mischief that Alchemist and his company had done among the Israelites,
he went and joined them with them. He didn't do that. You see what happened?
even above the heathen.
He was doing above the alchemist was doing above the heathen, man. Above the heathen. When it comes to doing certain things wrong, in other words, the heathens, they ain't part of Israel. You already know how they feel about us. But when you see people that's supposed to be your own people do you wrong, you deny the faith right there. That's above the heathen. You ain't even supposed to be dealing like that with us, man. Go ahead.
He went out into all the coasts of Judea round about, and took vengeance of them that had revolted from him, so that they durst no more go forth into the country. On the other side, when Alchemist saw that Judas and his company had gotten the upper hand, and knew that he was not able to abide their force, he went again to the king, and said all the worst of them that he could.
So Judas made it known that I'm not with you, Alchemist. He didn't try to make it so, oh, Shalom, we agree to disagree. We brothers, this, that, and the third. No, that would have jeopardized whose life? Which one? Israel, Judas, Alchemist. Bigfoot Mary. What's the name of that movie? He said, don't call her Bigfoot Mary. Her name's Mary. Whose life would have jeopardized and how? It would have jeopardized Judah's life. Because that meant that he would have had to play a role of pretending, and that would have gave Alchemist a chance to come close and be with him. So he just made it known, yo, I'm against you, man, and what you do. I don't consent unto all the stuff that you be doing. Harlem Nights? No.
Yeah, I believe it's all right.
No, that's the one with Red Fox in it. Yeah, that's Harlem Nights, right?
Harlem Nights.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Eddie Murphy.
Hoodlum, Eddie Murphy, Red Fox,
That's all nice.
Lauren Fisher. Right. Harlem Nights. Hoodlum Nights. Okay, Hoodlum.
No, it's the movie Hood, not the movie Harlem Nights, I believe.
The movie is Hoodlum Nights.
Hood.
Hoodlum, just Hoodlum. Oh, no nights. Okay. All right, Hoodlum. Well, he didn't want his woman called Bigfoot Mary. So I'm asking, who? Heck no. He was salty over there. She had big feet. This is don't walk with your shoes. Keep your shoes on. You know, they say when you walk around without your shoes, your feet will grow. You know. That's just an old saying. Now, I don't know. Maybe it's meant to. If it's meant for you to have big feet, you're gonna have big feet, boy. What's big for a woman? 10, 12, and 12s. I'm at the store shopping. What size you wear, baby? 12. Y'all out of 12? You gotta order them. All right. So First Maccabees chapter 7.
26.
So in 25, Alchemist saw Judas and his company got the upper hand. 26.
Then the king sent Nicanor, one of his honorable princes, a man that bare deadly hate unto Israel.
So we're used to that, an Edomite, and this where, you know, that's why we're going through this. Now this is where he come in at. Somebody that had real bad hate for Israel. Go ahead.
With commandment to destroy the people.
Take everybody out, is he saying.
So Nicanor came to Jerusalem with a great force, and sent unto Judas and his brethren deceitfully with friendly words, saying, let there be no battle between me and you. I will come with a few men, that I may see you in peace. He came therefore to Judas, and they saluted one another peaceably. Howbeit the enemies were prepared to take away Judas by violence. Which thing, after it was known to Judas, to wit, that he came unto him with deceit, he was sore afraid of him, and would see his face no more.
Right. So you see how Judas was? Judas himself was so afraid. He said, oh man, this guy tried to do what? Capture me. So Judas is trying to avoid capture. What I tell you, what's one of the primary rules of life? Preserve life. Y'all brothers don't wake up, man, and play and deal with this right. You're going to be called tripping. Preserve life. Judas himself said, oh, okay, this guy gonna capture me. I'm not going into this trap. Judas said, I ain't gonna see him face to face no more. Preserve life. You gotta be smart. Go ahead.
Nicanor also, when he saw that his counsel was discovered, went out to fight against Judas beside Capper Salon, where there was slain of Nicanor's side about 5,000 men, and the rest fled into the city of David. After this went Nicanor up to Mount Zion, And there came out of the sanctuary certain of the priests and certain of the elders of the people to salute him peaceably and to show him the burnt sacrifice that was offered for the king. But he mocked them and laughed at them and abused them shamefully and spake proudly and swore in his wrath, saying, unless Judas and his host be now delivered into my hand, if ever I come again in safely, I will burn up this house. And with that, he went out in a great rage.
So should they been trying to kiss butt? No. No, they should. I don't know if you know. I don't know if you're gonna tee off on him because he got an army that will just spirit you right up. But they shouldn't have been trying to. They try to show him the burnt sacrifice that was offered for the king and all of that. What? Bump that king. Look at all the killing that this dude in his name been doing. They should have been doing this to the Most High. All right, let's go.
Then the priests entered in and stood before the altar and the temple, weeping and saying, Thou, O Lord, didst choose this house to be called by thy name, and to be a house of prayer and petition for thy people.
So now they're afraid because they're saying, y'all better deliver up. Remember, they tortured 60 people before. And then it took Nicanor to come peacefully with some hidden people and try to talk to lure Judas out. Now they like in 35, unless Judas and his host be delivered into my hands, meaning y'all better tell them to give themselves up. Almost like, remember what Birth of a Nation, what's his name? Nat Turner. They wanted the people to give up Nat. So they wanted these people to give up Judas. He said, if y'all don't do it, if I make it back here, I'm gonna burn this house. Now, at this point, the priest is shook. So then in verse 36, the priest entered in and stood before the altar and the temple crying. So now they're in there crying because they know that the guy is going to do it. Look at all the people that he killed. Look at all the stuff he's doing. Now he's saying he's going to burn the house down. Now he's crying, oh Lord, they choose this house to be called by thy name. So that ain't a tent tabernacle that Moses pitched. That's an actual temple that Solomon built. They had already ravished it and took the gold and poured it down and this and all that other stuff. It says to be a house of prayer, meaning for people to come and pray and petition for thy people. Be avenged of this man and his host, and let them fall by the sword. Remember their blasphemies and suffer them not to continue any longer. So this guy with his spirit broken said a powerful prayer. He had nowhere else to turn, nothing else to do, but he resulted unto the Most High, even in his fear. Him crying doesn't make him a softy. He cried unto the Most High for help, which he should have did. So he did the right thing. Verse 39.
So Nicanor went out of Jerusalem and pitched his tents in Beth-horon, where an host out of Syria met him. But Judas pitched in Adasa with 3,000 men, and there he prayed, saying, O Lord, when they that were sent from the king of the Assyrians blasphemed, thine angel went out.
So Judas is praying. The priesthood that cared for the people is praying. Go ahead.
Thine angel went out and smote 184,500 of them. Even so destroy thou this host before us this day, that the rest may know that he had spoken blasphemously against thy sanctuary, and judge thou him according to his wickedness. So the 13th day of the month Adar, the host joined battle, but Nicanor's host was discomfited, and he himself was first slain in the battle. Now when Nicanor's host saw that he was slain, they cast away their weapons and fled. Then they pursued after them a day's journey from Adasa unto Gazra, sounding an alarm after them with their trumpets. Whereupon they came forth out of the towns of Judea round about and closed them in, so that they, turning back upon them that pursued them, were all slain with the sword, and not one of them was left. Afterwards, they took the spoils and the prey and smote off Nicanor's head and his right hand, which he stretched out so proudly, and brought them away and hanged them up toward Jerusalem. For this cause the people rejoiced greatly, and they kept the day a day of great gladness. Moreover, they ordained to keep yearly this day, being the 13th of Adar.
Right. Go ahead.
Thus the land of Judah was in rest a little while.
Exactly. And so that's tomorrow at evening. So I think that's one more. Second Maccabees 15. In verse 35.
This is Second Maccabees chapter 15 and verse 35. He hanged also Nicanor's head upon the tower, an evident and manifest sign unto all of the help of the Lord. And they ordained all with a common decree in no case to let that day pass without solemnity, but to celebrate the 13th day of the 12th month, which in the Syrian tongue is called Adar, the day before Mordecai's day.
So the day before Purim. So to show you according to scripture what's going on. And nowhere did we ever read it's a Sabbath. So it's not a Sabbath. Here is the definition of solemnity. It says the state or quality of being serious and dignified. I'll read it again. The state or quality of being serious and dignified. All right. So it was a serious day. So we to take it because it's a day that a great enemy was taken down, not so much as well, we take it with solemnity and seriousness for him because we don't care about him, but the fact that the Most High heard prayers, that the high priest had sent up prayers, Judas prayed, and that it could have went all bad, but it turned out good, and that this enemy was destroyed. When your lives and certain things are saved, opposed to just jumping straight into joy and celebrating, you stop and take a deep breath. It's like missing an accident. You were almost in an accident. You had to slam on brakes. Do you start celebrating because you almost got T-boned, or you fell asleep driving, or something, or through fear, you'd be grateful, like, oh man, that would have been so bad. So you take it with all seriousness, like, I'm so glad that this thing was avoided. So we're glad that the Most High didn't let that enemy go through with his threats to burn that temple down. And then he would have finished a real big rampage of killing a bunch of people. So we take that. And these are one of the reasons why we commemorate things that has to do with our people and not worthless things were battles that we lost. You don't celebrate your own demise. And a lot, if you go into some of the pagan days, that's what they about. But when you go into the Bible in his days, they go into the deliverance from those destructions. So we won't go any further because we're dealing with time. Pertaining to, I'll just post because we got to get time in for Purim. So I'll post into the group. I'll post into the group. We have to get time in to go over scriptures for Purim. So when I tell us the time, make the time to be here and not don't show up. Well, I'm gonna show up during mealtime and you don't get the scriptures. It's good for you to understand the process and you understand the reason why the Most High ordained those times, because the very things that we go through the scriptures, that's the stuff that you're gonna have to remember. You have to explain to each other, and you have to explain to others, and then even children, your children, when you have children. So you have to hear these things over and over and over, over and over and over. So that's it. All right. Matthew 26.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 26 and verse 6. Now when Yahushua was in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Yahushua understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that this woman had done be told for a memorial of her. I want to give all praises to the Most High for sending this woman Mary with a humble and contrite heart to show Christ's comfort before his burial. The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11, and verse 23. For I have received of the Lord that which also I delivered unto you, that the Lord Yahushua the same night in which he was betrayed took bread, and when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, take, eat, this is my body which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. After the same manner also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as oft as ye drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as ye eat this bread and drink this cup, ye do show the Lord's death till he come. Wherefore, Whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthily shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord. But let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily, eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body. For this cause many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep. But if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged. But when we are judged, we are chastened of the Lord, that we should not be condemned with the world.
All right, Israel. Most high in the name of Christ, thank you for the food and drink, amen.
Amen.
This is body which is broken for you. This is blood. Okay, Israel.
If every man was just like me, what kind of sanctuary would this be?
The Lord's Prayer, Matthew 6 and 9. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors to us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power and the glory forever. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
The laborers' prayer, Luke 10 and 2. Therefore said he unto them, the harvest truly is great, but the laborers are few. Pray therefore the Lord of the harvest that he will send forth laborers into his harvest. Bless you, Most High, King of heaven and earth, and all things, Most High, in the name of the Christ. Send more disciples and teachers to your harvest, to gather your people Israel, and send counsel behind your laws to stand before thy people Israel. Give us strength to break down our lives with thy word. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
The blessing of Israel, Numbers chapter 6 and 24. Children of Israel, the Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Okay, children of Israel, bless one another.
Most High in Christ bless you all.
So everybody, go ahead and check the messenger. I believe Paige left a message in the messenger for All right, Israel. On time, Christ bless. Good night.